Hans, Ron, it's the Stat Check crew. I hope everybody's doing well. It is episode 117, Four Armed, Five Trophies. I hope everybody's doing as well on this fine, dreary Tuesday in December, unless you're in the Southern Hemisphere, in which case I'm not convinced you exist. Somebody's going to need to tab out and go and ping the Discord that we're live, because otherwise I will forget to do it. That sounds like a job for somebody who's not me right now, please, guys.
I
Uh,
guess.
how We are StatCheck. We're here to bring you all of the news and information and, various shit chattery. I think we managed 30 seconds before swearing there. That sounds good.
That'll do.
About the wide goings in 40k. I took a week off last week. I hope nobody missed me too much. It seems like we got some very good reviews for the... So if me and Anthony are the kids table, what's Nathan and Anthony? The politics chat, I think, was the technical.
I forget what I called it. I think it was something like that. It was like the foot fetish and socialism channel or something like
There
that.
you
that
go.
was
Cool.
it. That
Yeah.
was what it was.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm happy to be one of those two things, but I'm like a little worried about being considered the first. So,
I mean, Nathan covers both for us.
that's good, yeah. So I hope everybody's doing well. We're here to talk. We've got stats, we've got new detachments, we've got... That's mostly it. Was there anything else? Oh yeah, some events. I think between myself and Anthony, there's three wins in the last 2 weekends. So I'll be talking a bit about my Celtic Cup and my RTT, which features a surprise for everybody who may remember a certain box opening from about a year ago. And Anthony, who decided to play the hardest version of an RTT you could possibly play.
Yeah. I just made my friends play me every round. It was nice to the other attendees and less nice to my friends.
So yeah, that's what we'll be doing today. I'm Ennis. I'm joined by Nathan and Anthony. And I hope everybody's doing well today. Nathan, how's your last week or so been?
Last week was Thanksgiving stuff, so we had family in town, and then we had friends over on Saturday. It was great. Potlucks are great fun. Thanksgiving is great fun when you get to have friends and people over who you like to hang out with. And we watched professional wrestling on Saturday when we were done eating, which was really funny for everybody, and including me. That's about it. I've got a bunch of Eldar on my painting desk, so I've got stuff to work on. I'm really jazzed after reveals from WCW, so I've been working on Eldar again. I even played a game of 40k. I know. Don't get too excited in this. And I've even planned another game of 40k. I know.
Who is Crusade this edition?
It's actually terrible, and I don't want to talk about it. No, I'm kidding. Crusade is like much more managed, but Crusade always has the challenge that if you're trying to run like a large campaign or a long campaign, that it ends up turning into like an Excel spreadsheet management campaign where your thing has 6 battle traits and the thing next to it has 6 battle traits as well. And they're all different all the time. And so you have to like keep looking at note cards every 5 seconds to see what your shit does. Yeah. But Hive Tyrants can still, turn into and ignore invuln things if you want them to. They're not as good as they used to be.
Yeah, ignoring invuln with their AP2.
Yeah, it's not as great anymore.
Yeah.
There's but I can't even remember what faction I played in Crusade anymore. I guess it doesn't even matter. The Crusade is gone and I don't do it anymore, I swear, I promise. Only competitive 40k from here on out, I swear.
Look at you, I'm so proud.
I know.
He's the best. He's truly giving it his all.
I'm giving it what I've got in it, which is like a solid 10% of my life. How about you, Anthony? How are you doing this fine Tuesday evening?
I'm okay. I'm doing probably too many things still. Just, the same ever existing problem that I seem to not be able to shake. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Gonna go look at potential new apartment stuff maybe tomorrow. So that would be cool. We would be up closer to like civilization. So that'd be pretty tight. Not, in East fuck nowhere in the woods.
Lovely woods though.
Yeah, the woods are present. They're over there. They're right outside this window. I played an RTT on Friday. That was fun. I ran people over with 30 possessed. The TO paired me into whatever one of my friends was undefeated that round that was there. So that was fun.
You brought him. You deal with him. He's your problem.
Pretty much, yeah.
Problem.
So that was fun. We had a good time with that. I think my opponent scored a combined 102 points or something like that. May have been 104. something like that.
Across
Not
across
low
how many
number,
rounds?
low number, not high. 3. So yeah, it was fun. Possessed are pretty good in my least favorite way possible for something to be good, where the unit actually kind of sucks, but it's just cheap enough that
Cheap
you
and
get.
durable, baby.
That's not even durable. It's just like there's too much of
Just
it.
cheap.
Yeah,
Just cheap.
there's just too much of it. Like if a guard player is like, this unit gets the exterminator debuff and this unit gets the field debuff, and both of them can no longer have cover, these 2 individual rusts will kill most of your unit. So that's an exciting thing that can happen.
I've seen Mike Pestilence from Warhammer playing that in Fellhammer a little bit for the -1 to wound as well, just to be like, and the feel no pain strat, just to be like slightly more annoying. And I do think that is probably the best way to play Fellhammer, and that's as much as I'm willing to give it. But
yeah, they don't do any damage, and they like get to pretend to do damage because I was playing Renegade Raiders. So like, sometimes they do nothing. But that's pretty much as close as you get.
I was speaking to one of the Team Wales guys at Battleburn who was like, yeah, I'm really trying to fit the Land Raider on my list to give them full wound rerolls to make them do something in Renegade Raiders. I'm like, dude, please stop.
The trick with the Possessed is not to give them a Master of Possession, not to give them anything. Just let them be 240 points for the 10 dudes, and let them just be kind of shit. And it's okay that they're not very good, because they don't cost that much. So if they go out and do fucking nothing, whatever.
Okay.
Not a huge deal. Most of
the same points as 5 Deathwing Knights for anybody who's kind of like running the math on that.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. They will lose that fight the overwhelming majority of the time. They also like in the same list with that does most of the actual work is a chosen unit with Bile, who, as a surprise, way less cool outside of vets. Because in vets, you like charge someone with your full rerolls and you do stuff. In Renegade Raiders, you charge someone without that and you miss a lot, and then you fail to wound a bunch. So you're kind of just also 3 wound bodies that are in the way. And
I still have chosen our undivided chosen from the index detachment energy. Whenever I play against the unit, I'm like, oh god, chosen with a lord. And then one connects to me and I'm like, oh yeah, chosen with a lord.
It's going to be fine.
Unless they killed 2 JPIs.
Yeah, the Vets one is pretty good. But the Renegade Raiders one, like, that list is really good. And
it's a lot of medium durability bodies with armor contempt access.
I think I would not want to play it against a lot of upper level WGC level competition. I think in that context, that army would not do well.
I would like to play against it with my X-Greens very much.
I don't want any. In specifically teams, it'd be great because you could just be like, no, thank you, Tyranids, and most other things would be pretty much okay. Like, it'd be a pretty good attacker list, like in general. Like, do the thing that I always do, where you attack twice, get denied twice, and then play in the scrum, defend in the scrum. Like, I live that life a lot. Which is, for anyone at home that doesn't play a lot of teams, the most coveted role in teams. I get
you are the princess.
Yeah, I get babied by all the teams I play on. So for that exact role, it would be quite good. I don't think it's better than Eaters at that role, but it's certainly better than Eaters into certain things. So we'll see.
And there's also where you just take both and go and do the double duty with Eaters and that if you wanted it.
It's a little tough to manage that. I mean, Eaters cover the Nids gap, so that's cool. Eaters are good into Nids if you play it correctly, and they're not awesome into, I don't know, they maybe they cover each other well enough that it works out and everything's fine, but I really wish that they would just ironically, I wish they would Deathwing Knight treatment the Possessed. They should just be like a 5-man only, be 200 points, and then their pact thing that's once per game should just give them +1 to each melee stat. And then they should just ship them into the wild like
it's
that.
Like, go kill something and then explode, please. Yeah. But just kill something.
At that point, you'd consider an MOP. You would, you probably wouldn't use the Land Raider. That's probably a bit much. But you would consider using things to force multiply them. Whereas now they are just not at all worth.
They've hit a point where they're just the body is enough that it's worth
Yeah.
Just about worth 24 points.
Yeah, they like in the same phase, right? I had one unit pop off and do 20 mortals to a Russ. That was tight. And then in the same exact phase, the same exact unit did 4 damage to a Chimera.
That sounds right.
And you're just, wee! You don't know. Yeah.
It's an avalanche of garbage, right? Basically.
But it's like slightly not garbage. If you're like a Marine and you don't have armor contempt, you're in like grave danger against a handful of possessed. But
yeah, that's why France ran them in their WTC a curse list, because 5 possessed for 120 was just like it does the same thing like Sanguinary Guard doing Blood Angels, obviously not as well or as fast, but it's like they trade with JPIs and scouts and Ranger squads and like that little shit, but then that same stuff doesn't kill them back, where like in the mirror match, like a scout squad activates on a possessed squad first and kills it, whereas like the vice versa isn't true, so you have to commit something that costs more than the possessed. And you like begin that trading game really well. And like the 5-mans,
I don't want to disparage them too much. They are good, they are quick, they're like not good in a way I want them to be good, but that doesn't make them bad. Really, a lot of the like damage based work in that list is getting done by the fact that you have 2 advance and shoot Vindicators and an advance and shoot Forge Fiend. And if you've not been on the receiving end of a CSM Forge Fiend in a minute, woo boy, that shit is rough. That is a bad day in the office for the overwhelming majority of data sheets out and about right now. And the Vindicators do like, I mean, like the whole trick with this is a little bit just good player shit, which is like, you're not going to trust the possessed to kill the Rust from full. You're going to shoot it with a Vindicator. Maybe the Vindicator takes it down to 6. Then you can finish it off with the Possessed. And when all that's done, you can do a big, stupid move block with your unit that's very big and very annoying.
And then your Vindicator doesn't get shot back and you do it again next turn.
Yeah, and you kind of just rinse and repeat on that kind of cycle. And it feels terrible for your opponent, particularly if it's me and they're telling you that these Possessed suck the whole time, because that's really annoying, I'm sure. But
you do that with World Leaders too, for anybody who's not figured it out yet.
What'd you say?
You do that with World Leaders as well. You're like, God, this army's terrible. It's like this is like an 11 matchup as you like remove your opponent's spleen with their ribcage.
I don't do that. I think World Leaders are very good. I play them at events that are very important to me that I win. My opponents insist that they're terrible and have to be shown. So yeah.
I've seen your matrices. You think they're shit too.
I don't think they're shit. I just think it doesn't have to get crazy, and that everyone seems content to be like, it does have to get crazy. And I'm like, all right. I don't want a problem, but if you want a problem, that's no problem.
Very fair. So that is Anthony's RTT experience with World Leaders. What did you play against? What were your 3 games?
I played against a like near mirror that still had ACDCs, which was like a really interesting look into what the like difference between the two is, because ACDCs are significantly more expensive. I was basically up a melee brick on him, so I had 3 possessed squads to his 3 ACDC units, or he had 2 ACDC units and the chosen brick, whereas I had 3 possessed squads and the chosen brick, whereas he had like some stuff in a rhino. So that was like, you know, I killed... This is when I thought I might have a problem, actually, the beginning of this game. Because he, like, charges my Nurglings, kills them. I hit the charge with a Possessed squad into an ACDC squad. And, like, after having shot them a bit to kill 4 of the dudes, I didn't kill the ACDC unit with the Possessed full swinging on them. And I was like, oh, that doesn't bode well for later. But it was like mostly fine because they were like an ACDC unit without the buffs, right? So they, you know, punched me back at strength 5 into my T6, and I was just like, no. But yeah, it was mostly okay. Like that one was pretty much fine. I think that I generally prefer what I ran to what I played against. Then I played against Vanguard Tyranids. The Possessed not doing damage is really contingent on my opponent not being Vanguard Tyranids. Vanguard Tyranid stuff dies very, 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 very fast to Possessed.
Yeah, your bones are made of paper. Every night you lie in bed till the heart attacks put you to sleep is the Vanguard Tyranid's defensive life.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So that was not great. Also, same thing. The Overwatch from the Forge Fiend into the Warrior squad was not, like, kind or good. We moved so that didn't happen because I was like, I'm gonna do this, and he was like, it won't be that bad, and we were like, never mind, don't do that, go somewhere else. So they copped it from a Vindicator and lost 3 instead. But yeah, so that one was mostly fine, and then I finished with Guard, and Guard was a like, you know, like a bit of a lesson in like, hey, you were a bit too rowdy with these things when you needed to be with these things, and like early on stuff died. That was the game where I like shot a tank commander with a Vindicator, pulled it down to 6, killed it in melee with Possessed, and didn't have to eat the shoot back. So thumbs up, nailed it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that Possessed could, like, they don't need much to be a lot better. Them being just like strength 6 would be fucking night and day. Them being strength 5 base is infuriating. But you know, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully things change and things change for the better. I would vastly prefer a world where they were more expensive and better rather than what they are. And I think my opponents largely feel that way too. It never feels good to get drowned in like elite infantry, but getting drowned in it is like, what's happening right now?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense.
So
well,
how was playing Eldar, bro?
As for myself, yeah. So I've got 2 segments. I'm going to talk about the second event first. First of all, yeah, I got my wisdom tooth pulled out last week. Yeah, it fucking sucks, man. I was so tired for so long.
Yeah.
I'm just about finally able to like manage a day of talking, which is good because that's my job. So difficult.
As I said on the pre-show, imagine doing WCW the day after.
Yeah, dude. I was impressed you were getting out of bed, let alone.
Yeah. I mean, I knew something was wrong on the first day when I got out of bed and you were like, holy shit, you look bad or something like that. And I was like, oh man, I normally look pretty bad. And he never says anything. I must look terrible.
Rough states. And the fact that I was like, hey, dude, you like shower.
I had already showered when he said that too. It was not good. Like he was like, go try again. I was like, oh, okay.
Go back to bed, get back out, go back through your morning routine one more time. You need to bake a little longer, but
in order to have a bit of a chill out weekend, I've decided that I was going to take a winter project up, which is I'm going to sort out all that Eldar shit that Dan gave me, as well as like I picked up a bunch of Eldar stuff secondhand from Saltire. I ordered a couple of other bits just to like round out having an army, and I went, okay, what's doing well with Eldar right now? And I'd seen something from 6++. Ed Watts had played a really cool Eldar list at the ITT back in like 3 weeks ago now. And I was like, all right, cool. This list was super fun. It's like Avatar Wraith Knight. All right, let's jam. I looked at it. I'm like, well, I don't have any War Spiders and I don't have any War Walkers, but I do have 2 Fire Prisms. So let's just pull out some of that stuff, put in some Fire Prisms, and we'll go and jam it in an RTT. And then I showed up, and 3 people were there. There were 6 people there. 2 of them were Knights. 1 of them was Imperial Knights, and 1 of them was a full tank Guard list. And I was like, I feel pretty good about my decision. Oh, and then Death Guard with a Knight was the last. Death Guard with a Knight was the last list. Like, I have chosen cleverly. So I proceeded to put a Wraith Knight on the table and then spend about 30 CP fire invading it.
Yep. She's a pricey bitch, but she does a lot of damage.
Killed, and you're just like, pick up that War Dog, pick up that War Dog. Oh, you failed 2 saves. Pick up that War Dog to the Fire Prism. Flagon walks forward, take 11. Charge in combat, roll double 6 on the wound roll. I guess that one's dead too. Yep. Avatar on Overwatch, I'll use this 6. Die. It was so stupid. So yeah, I played Chaos Knights round 1. I think I won that one 97-30 or something like that. I was by turn 3, I was phantasming my Guardian squads forward to go and get banners points because I had scored a 3 and a 3 on secondaries. I was like, well, I need points. So I went to go and get some secondary points. So I was phantasming my Guardians forward. They ended on his own objective. You know, as you do.
Family, Innes. You can't just do that to people.
I mean, you can. That's what Eldar do. The trick with Eldar, as someone who's played a lot of elf stuff, like the minute you feel bad, you've lost because your opponents are going to guilt trip you. And like you're gonna make you feel bad about it, and they're really gonna try to appeal to your sense of humanity.
And you're like, I don't have humanity.
You just dig that shit out of you with a knife, and you can apply that knife to the opponents when you're done, and just be like, yeah, dude, I don't know. If you wanted to win, you should have tried being alive.
And plunging for Dark Reapers and everything. It was great.
Yeah.
So that was game 1. Game 2, I played into Imperial Knights. I got a little rowdy with this one. Made some rough things happen when my Fire Prism decided that passing 3 up saves was overrated, and both got exploded by Armiger Helverins. Just like that's not good. I just lost a lot of my anti-tank. And then my Wraith Knight got uppercutted by my Wraith Knight proceeded to do 0 damage to a Gallant and then get removed by it, which was not optimal.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, I wasn't having the best time. But then it failed a Battleshock test and died to Dark Reapers. So, and Fuigan did 11 damage to him.
Fuigan is a trip, dude. Just
Fuigan is a lot of data sheet. A lot of data sheet.
Just a man with an elephant gun.
it's a
I was,
lot.
upset, I was upset when he didn't have grenade. Not gonna lie.
Dude, it's a lot of data sheet twice. You don't pay for one Fuigan.
You pay for 2. Well, you don't even pay for 1 Fuigan. You pay for half a Fuigan, and you get 2 out of the bargain.
Yeah. So yeah, I got the good old Canis Rex got removed by the Avatar, and then the Avatar got like summarily executed by a Gallant. The man had Canis and double Gallant. It was fucking great.
That's a gas.
Just like
that.
I ran out of ability to kill big knights by the time the third one was in my deployment zone, but it was like, great, grenade and Fuigan damage, and hope it goes down.
Grenade and Fuigan damage is like, what, 18? So
yeah. Now, the convenient thing is that I was up like 90 to 30 at this point, so it wasn't actually a big deal because there were 2 Dark Reaper squads on the 2 objectives. Because as you know, once you have that, there's 4 other models in that list.
Yep.
I took his home objective with Swooping Hawks on turn 3, so we had to send one of them backwards.
Swooping Hawks is another one that is a fair amount of data sheet per data
I
sheet.
had 1 unit of Swooping Hawks, and I really, really do see why people run more.
Yeah. I think the rule that makes me the most upset about Swooping Hawks is actually not that they uppy downy, it's that they have lethal. I don't know why it tilts me off the planet every time.
20 shots lethal hits for some reason.
It just, yeah, especially when you're playing something like Knights, you're like, stop doing 3 damage to my Armigers. Enough.
I played a practice game with them and just like killed a Scourge squad that was just in cover. I was just like, that's 13 saves. Oh, you failed 1 more than average. I guess you just don't have AY.
See you later. Yeah.
So, and it's also going to Phantasm back behind that wall or Fire and Fade onto your home objective, just in case you thought you were going to get those this turn. Yeah, really, really seeing why that was a thing. Then my third game, I put against Guard, Triple Tank Commander, Adorn, and Supply Drop, and then went first. And I was like, I can see how this is like a little sketchy. Yeah, Avatar walked forward, failed to kill a Chimera with shooting in combat.
Sometimes.
Like, he was microdosing you being you're possessed.
I guess.
Wraith Knight shot Adorn on turn 1. Made him burn his blank. He smoked, right? Like I only hit like twice and wounded once. He blanked it. And then Fire and Faded back to safety. Then walked forward, shot a tank commander, did like 7 damage to it. The Wraith Knight was really not popping on all cylinders this game. Man would not roll a 4 to hit into smoked vehicles.
I don't love them, but I get it.
No, it was interesting. I definitely like. I could see why I would like want guide for it, but I'm not running another Farseer to buff this thing. I've already got 1, blah blah blah. Right? Like I can see a lot of the fail points for it. It's a big 500-point model, but it does use the stratagems well. And then my Fire Prism proceeded to leave this Dorn on 12 wounds for 2 more turns before it finally died. Just would not fail 5-up. Would not fail his 5-up saves. I was very impressed. But we got there in the end. Wraith Knight was just stood on the supply drop objective, 10 OC. You can't have it. He kept putting 10 OC on it, and then the Altark would Phantasm onto the objective. We're like, 11. It was great. Really just having a good time. The Altark went like from my deployment zone to his deployment zone to screen out his Rust Ingress back to the objective. It's just like, ping pong.
That's just what that model does.
And Floyd gets it on his own objective.
Yeah,
Go on fucking
that
trips.
sounds right.
Without having died the first time. That was great too.
Yeah, he just walks through army. He's every time I've played against him with world leaders, he's just like, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. Did you try to deal with me? Fuck you. Blap, you too.
Kill that vehicle on Overwatch. You didn't need that, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, the sheer disrespect as well. Like when I played against Eldar frequently, it was with the old fate dice rolling, where you couldn't use the fate dice on the reroll, you had to use it on the initial roll. The fact that you can now roll the first one with the Avatar and just be like, well, if I roll the 6, I get it. I don't have to use the fate dice. And then you can use the fate dice on the damage. I got it like 3 or 4 times on an Overwatch or like just a regular shooting. I'm just like,
it is. So
I'm really sorry, but that's also 8 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool that you had that. It's not there anymore. Bye.
Yeah, you didn't need that carnivore, did you? And then the second carnivore charges into the -1 to wound Avatar, misses once, fails to wound 3 times. I pass the first 4, blank the second, and then kill him in his turn. I'm just like, I'm really sorry for what's just happened to you there.
Carnivore have like a secret data sheet rule on the back that says you'll always roll at least 1/1 to hit and wound.
Yeah. I mean, that is mathematically fairly likely. They do only have 6 attacks.
They will always do it.
Yeah.
It is not like they're likely to have this. It is just like fucking death, taxes, a 1 to hit and wound for carnivores.
To be fair, though, I will say, like, not to like the Eldar way out of this. Avatar and Flagon miss 1 attack, surprisingly likely as well. You're just like 1 into 1. I feel like I did that like 6 or 7 times, which, like, the fact that they activated 6 or 7 times each, don't worry about it. But it really did feel like that gun was one that 1 dice was like magnetically a 1 into a 1. So anyway, yeah, the Grand Eldar experiment was interesting. I will definitely be trying to get the army finished, paid up over winter. We unfortunately, my painting space, my normal painting space is in the garage, and in the house it's a little cold. And the place where I had a table set up is now Christmas decorations. So I'm not convinced I'm going to have somewhere to paint over Christmas. So we're going to need to figure that out, because I would like to get the army prepped up and ready for when the book drops. I don't think I was considering trying to rush getting it ready for my team event. Not this weekend, but next. But I decided that I don't want to do that to the models. I would rather like actually put some time into them and get them done nice.
Is Scotland coming to the Pyro I'm going to?
The one in February?
Yeah.
Presumably? I don't really know. I'm not involved in that anymore.
I didn't know if I was going to see you in February was the question that I was asking.
Probably.
I mean, I can look. That's not important right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can ask. I mean, I might not be playing for Scotland for that one. Like, they might want to take a team that's like new people or something like that. I don't know.
You're not. Yeah.
If there is, I'll maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
I'm looking at the roster right now. There's no Scotland there, bro. It's heartbreaking.
Rough.
I don't have anything else to say. I'm just sad about that now.
Nah, me too.
Are you just here to like twist the knife a little bit at the
No,
end?
I didn't do that on purpose. I just went to look and I was like, look, we're gonna see each other in February. Yeah, and we're not.
Team Scotland think we're going to Pyra.
Uh-oh. This is where we learn that somebody didn't send an email to somebody else.
Don't worry about it. I don't need to know. It's not my job.
Right. We can talk about stats then. We can talk about stats on our stat episode. Stat check.
Let's do the stats, and then I'll talk about Celtic Cup in the wider segment later. I'm not going to do much on it because I'm going to do an initial reports on it, but yeah.
Let's go.
All right. We are in a meta that is got some things to talk about.
Yeah, what do you mean? Nathan's going to cheer us up after all the bad stuff that happened this week.
Eldar existing.
I'm going to cheer us all up in just a second. But first, I have to deliver some bad news. First, the bad news, and then the good news at the other end of it. The bad news is that we're starting to have a problem. The good news is it's probably not going to last that long because we're supposed to get a slate and 30 detachments this month.
I feel like that sentence, like, we've all just, like, you know, kind of mentally accepted that as just like, you know, that's a thing that's happening. But when you say it, and I'm just, like, really just sat listening, not, you know, playing Hearthstone while I try and do my day job, and someone says, like, we're going to get a slate and 30 detachments, it's really like, oh, we're doing that, huh?
1 or 2 a day really is making it not feel that bad to me. Like, if they had dropped all 30 on the first, I'd have been so overwhelmed. But one or two a day, I'm like, yeah, dude, fly blown. Sucks ass. Moving on.
Yeah, 1 or 2 pretty shit ones. And by pretty shit, I mean, like, they're not going to be like the best army in the game immediately. Yeah. They're all roughly as good as the best Death Guard's ever been. They're just not, like, that crazy. So hopefully we just hold this rhythm. All of them aren't that crazy. They come out one at a time. Everybody just be cool.
All right. Before we do the stats, over under. What's your line for there being broken detachments?
I think there's going to be 5. 5 that like drop and we're like, what the fuck is this? What?
Okay, so you taking the over on 5, Nathan, or the under on 5?
I guess
5.5.
I'm going to take the under on 5. I'm going to take
the under on 5.
I'm going to say 3. There are going to be 3 detachments that we just kind of put our hands up in the air like, I don't understand why you've done this to us.
Okay, well, I'll take the conservative. I'll take 4 then.
Okay.
Hopefully one of us is right.
Hopefully none of us are right, and it's 0. Like, let's be.
0. I mean, hopefully they're all just, you know.
There's absolutely no way. Now, the other side of things. How many of them do you think we're going to look at and be like, "Who the fuck is this for?" because I get the first three. Like, I don't love any of them, but like I understand where they're all coming from. They're all interesting, at least in different ways, even if they're not strictly like the best thing you could be doing. But like, I get what all of them are trying to do. How many do you think we're going to just be like, what the fuck is? Why is this a thing?
So far, all of them at least do something. Like,
Yeah.
none of them have, like, their lore isn't that their soldiers are the best, right? Like, that's not happened yet, right? We're not, like, 6-year-old at that kid up the street's house. Like, so far, so good. Ideally, they keep moving on this, band. I don't, this, just to, like, answer this real quick, the pseudo-transhuman stuff they've been putting out is pseudo-transhuman. So it's just like worse -1 to wound.
Yeah. It's the greater than toughness, strength thing, -1 to wound stuff.
Yeah. So maybe it's fine. Maybe it holds. Maybe everything's cool. Maybe it's, we just tune down. We get the slate that tunes down the top, the things that are pain a bit, and we just kind of like level out. And that's the platonic ideal of balance, right?
I'm down with every single detachment dropping at the power level that's been shown so far.
Yeah.
That's...
We get that. We ratchet in the top a bit. We kind of just let things be cool.
I'm cool with the meta getting wider but not stronger. That's a thing
Yeah.
I'm good for. And all of these attachments so far are kind of like that. I am genuinely kind of curious about the Death Guard list that Pumba was talking about today. The Plague, the Poxwalkers and Death Shroud one. I'm like, do you know what? It's not going to make my mind. We're not going to make my save worse, so I'm okay with this existing.
Yeah,
it just sounds like more fun than playing against the current one.
Yeah, and like that 6-inch pile and consolidate strat, real legs. Anyway, we're getting distracted by the new detachments that we should do after the stats, which is the thing people are usually here for. So, Nathan, go.
Nathan, kick it away.
Why is Ulthway better than Light?
I'm gonna go refill my water.
Oh my god! You don't have to traumatize me immediately. We don't need to traumatize Nathan immediately. Man, that brought up historic pain. I didn't need today.
I do my best.
I appreciate you, bud. I really do. I really do. The number one faction, even though Innis left, I guess, whatever, is Gene Stealer Cults. They had 30 players, 4.1% of the meta. A 66.
That number is...
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm going to talk about it. Don't worry. In 2 seconds. A 66.8% win rate.
That's a big number, dude. Yeah. We've been in the 58 for a while.
We're at 66 now. 5 event wins, 5 trophies, 8 top 4s, 13 top 10s, and a blistering 3.22 over rep. Just absolute madness,
dude. That's thick.
It's GSC, right?
Yeah, that's GSC.
Cool.
Also, this is like a quadrupling of GSC meta representation, by the way, since GSC started to get rep.
Do we track play rate over time?
We can. We don't specifically, but yesterday when Jeremy and I recorded Art of War Down Under, we talked about this a little bit and looked it up. And Gene Stealer Cults were originally around 1%. And they are now 4.1%. So they have basically quadrupled in meta representation.
Look, all I'm saying is GW, I want fucking commission.
I mean, that quadrupling is wild.
It's definitely wild. In second place, based on win rate, is Black Templars. There were 10 players. They had a 59% win rate. They didn't win any events. They got 2 top 4s, 4 top 10s. And because they're a relatively small player pool, they had an overrep of 2.42.
That's that type of shit. That's that low player pool shit, right? Like, none of us did well and won, but a bunch of us went 3-2. Pow!
Yep, basically. It's got some strong, we got enough top 4s that the number of people who were involved did just well enough. Like, by comparison, a very similar placement style, you had Leagues of Votan, who made up twice the meta of Black Templar at 3%, had a 58.1% win rate.
What?
Yeah, twice the meta representation for Leagues of Votan as compared to Black Templars.
Was there 14 German events last weekend? What happened?
I don't know, man. I couldn't tell.
Germany did an RTT, but we don't track that, so
yeah.
It really counts.
But they also got 2 top 4s and 8 top 10s, but their overrep's only 1.1. Kind of describes like mid-table menace kind of situation. a few top fours, not a lot of top fours, pretty reasonable representation. But yeah, that's where you see that 3% meta representation versus 1.4. Same amount of top fours. Just goes to show you how small numbers make overrep big sometimes. Blood Angels are in 4th place.
Oh, snap.
34.8% of the meta, a 56.9% win rate. They won an event. They got 6 top 4s, 9 top 10s, and have a 2.07 overrep.
But yeah, doing pretty good. Solid army. Just fine.
And then World Leaders are rounding out the top 5. 24 players, 3.3% of the meta, a 55.2% win rate, 1 event win, 3 top 4s, 8 top 10s, and a 1.51 overrep.
Good job, Nathan. Other Nathan, the one that was playing World Leaders and won that event. Also, good job. Continue what you're doing, but that would be a weird non-segue.
Thank you. I did such a great job reading that World Leaders stats.
Well done, Nathan. Keep going with the rest of the top 6.
Yeah.
You want the top 6? No, we're not doing that.
No.
We're going to talk about the bottom 5.
Because it'll cause psychic damage to their player base. Thousand Suns were in 6th place.
Oh,
they
wow.
were in 6th place. They had
Your army's fine, guys. It needs more nerfs, is actually what that says.
It's funny, they have a 1.8% meta representation, so quite a little bit of a descent.
There are half the Thousand Suns players as GSC players right now.
I mean, that's what happened, right? They were like, this is broken, but this is broken and resurrects. Whoop!
Yeah, Thousand Suns didn't win anything. They had a single top 4, 3 top 10s, a 54.9% win rate, and a 0.93 overrep. So perfectly balanced now. Everything in the window. They're doing fine. At the bottom, at the very bottom, is not what you would normally expect. It's not Imperial Agents. It is Grey Knights. Grey Knights are the worst faction currently, as of this week, with a 2.9% meta representation and a 38.1% win rate. Just
that's a small number.
Yeah. They had a single top 10, and that's their claim to fame. So they have an overrep of 0. Right above them, and the next level of garbage up from the bottom of the dumpster is Space Marines, who made up 4% of the meta. This is basic book Space Marines. 39.3% win rate and a solitary top 4 for a 0.42 overrep.
I can't wait for them to get eye-bleeding buffs and then that number just not change.
Yeah, look, Josh Roberts was playing the weekend, and that should tell you everything you need to know. Is that they're good enough for Josh to play them, and they're about to get buffed.
Drukhari are 3rd from the bottom, further cementing that really Anthony was right all along about them being bad.
I told you.
They always were.
A 41.8% win rate and no placements to speak of aside from a solitary top 10. So they also have a 0 for overrep.
Yep.
4th from the bottom is Chaos Knights. 42.9% win rate, 2 top 10s. So again, 0 for overrep. And then rounding out the bottom 5 is Tau Empire. 5.2% of the meta, a 42.9% win rate, 2 top 4s, 6 top 10s, and a 0.64 for overrep. Nothing terribly crazy. I think the only army we really didn't talk about was Astra Militarum, which is what people are always interested in, who are one of the event winners from this weekend. They had a 50.7% win rate and continue to be one of the most popular factions in the game at a 6.2% meta representation. They have a 1.07 for overrep. Our other event winners are Death Guard, who won an event. Eldari, who won a GT-sized event. Sisters, who managed to win 3 events, apparently.
That's a lot of events.
I guess,
are we still fine?
That's a lot of events actually. They had a 47% win rate, made up about 4% of the meta, 3.9%. 3 event wins, 4 top 4s, 6 top 10s, and a 1.73 for overrep. Our other winners are Chaos Space Marines, who won an event with a 46.5% win rate, and then Dark Angels, who won an event with a 44.7% win rate. So like there seems to be a problem forming, as you can tell from this week's stats. Gene Stealer Cult kind of running away at the top end of things with the largest pool of event wins, the largest pool of overrep, a considerably higher than our 55% win rate window that GW has decided is a balance window. Not great. Oh, and it's pulled.
I want to show something off. I want to show something off because I was flicking about the data, and this made me laugh a little bit. I want to point out a couple things for Gene Stealer Cult stats for this weekend. First of all, is their win margin distribution. One player went 0-5. One player went 1-4. 7 players went 2-3. 8 players went 3-2. 9 players went 4-1. And 2 players went 5-0. 1 player went 6-0. And 1 player went 7-0. So the average event placement is 4-1. Or like the median is like just about between 3-2 and 4-1. And if we go and have a look at the win margin distribution, there's this really nasty spike at 20-0.
Oh Lord, dude,
Oh,
that is
no.
not good.
Oh no.
That's bad.
So what's happening here, for anybody who doesn't know, WTC scoring caps at a 20-0, right? Which we, for our data purposes, include at being a 51-point win because we don't know what the exact margin was unless we can pull the exact margin out, right? Like if the score is recorded,
Yeah.
but some events don't do that. So what that means is that all of the distance from 51 to the right is being pushed backwards. So what that means is that continues to tail off all the way up to like a 90-point margin down somewhere to the right because that gets spread out a bunch.
Yeah.
Which is horrifying.
Yeah, it's not good.
Individual detachment wise, we're looking at Outlander Gold had a 71% win rate last weekend. And then the average player, 77% of Gene Stealer Cult players go positive.
That's cool.
All right, Ennis. Let's
Yeah,
give
you can have control back. I just wanted to be like, hey guys, GSC might be a little too good.
So we're gonna go back to the same actual bit that Innes was just showing us with the main
Nathan has
page.
control now. He doesn't trust me with the stat numbers.
I don't trust Innes at all with anything anymore. So Gene Stealer Colt are still at the top at a 61% win rate. Yeah, anything. I don't trust Innes with anything. 2.4 over rep for since the last data slate. 11 GT wins, which actually is not the most. Guard currently hold the most at 12. An 18% 4-0 event start, which is wild. Just
That's
absolute wild nonsense.
Yeah, that's a big number, dude.
That is so much more than it is supposed to be.
What is that supposed to be? What should that number say?
Their 4-0 event start rate should
so it should be basically you should drop off half of your population at each route, right? So 50% should go 1-0, 25% should go 2-0, 12.5% should go 3-0, 6.5%. So 6.25 is the expected value for
that's
event start.
3 times higher than it should be.
Yes. Triple.
Yes. See, if you see all those armies that are sitting around 6 and 7, right? So we've got, Thousand Suns, Tyranids, Sisters, Necrons, CSM, Wolves, and Imperial Knights. That indicates that they're winning about half of their games on that matrix. But you tend to see, like, if an army has a really high event population or like population for that, but a low win rate, so you've got like Chaos Knights down there, what it suggests is that they're doing a really good job of like winning the easy games, but losing the hard games, and then the inverse for armies with 50% win rates. So, like, if you see Chaos Knights there have a 10%, which means they're going 4-0 about almost twice as much as they should be, but they're very rarely winning that fourth game because they're still at the 50% win rate. Or the people who go one and lose their first game or lose their second game continue to lose quite a lot. So they either get stat checked off the board or they don't win their fifth game is kind of what that signifies. And then the inverse is true for armies with very low ones. It tends to mean that players like lose an early game, but then like beat their way up through like the losers bracket. But they don't often make it to the 4-0. Like they're armies that tend to lose before they get to that position.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So it's a problem. They're also the only faction that's currently above the balance window by win rate. To summarize, it's a problem. And then we're going to look here at a breakdown of the various Gene Stealer cults attachments. There's one person, by the way, who played Brood Brothers.
And he's our 0-5.
They didn't win a single game. They got a 0, 0, 0, and 0.
So
for a moment, I thought nobody had been playing for a moment until I scrolled over it once and I was like, oh no, there's just one person and they just didn't do anything, which is fine. But yeah, Host of Ascension, 68% win rate with 36 players and a 3.24 for overrep. They have 4 event wins with a 25% 4-0 rate. Biosantic Brew Surge is the most popular. 61% win rate, 2.19 for overrep, 18% 4-0 rate, and us the most.
Just for like the record of anybody listening to the podcast, Biosantic with 6 event wins has more event wins than any faction except Guard and Dark Angels.
That's cool.
Correct. Yep.
By the way, none of those ones are mine. I only have Outlander and Host of Ascension GT wins.
Yep. So
But that's other
you're the
people doing that.
lone Outlander claw, I think, right?
Not for this patch. Mine was pre, and then so I'm one of the Host of Ascension wins for this patch.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's kind of how Gene Sealer Cult are doing. They are going above and beyond, in other words.
Yeah,
At the bottom end of it,
we
only
were right
have
when we said that they were
Imperial
probably
Agents.
stronger than Guard.
Yes, they are definitely stronger than Guard.
I still am not like fully confident that they're just flat stronger than Guard. I think they're probably performing better in general, but so much of Guard is pulled back by like the Guard player base.
I would agree, but I also think that they are like I think GSC have a like half the player base, right? But GSC are like at 3% player base. Like if we make that argument about GSC, we have to also make that argument about Votan and Sisters right now.
I think that's fine. Like
I do
that's
think
fair,
that
but...
Astra Militarum is affected by being almost 2.5 times the player base of GSC. Like there's a concentration. We'll talk about it in another tab real quick. The only faction that's out on the bottom is Imperial Agents. I don't think anybody really expected them to do super well necessarily.
People just don't have them yet.
Yeah,
I'm interested
only
to see what happens with the Death Watch index as well.
Yeah. There's like genuinely not a compelling reason to be an Imperial Agents person unless you just really like the fact that you're the Imperial Agents person.
You're going for that best in faction.
Sure.
Yeah, if you want free codes for the year, best in faction agents is probably one of the ways to do it.
That's true. You could just show up to a couple of events, not get completely owned.
The dark mode of this is a little silly, but we're going to do this anyways.
Just change it to light mode at the bottom left. It's a button.
No.
There's a toggle at the bottom left.
Fine. That didn't fix anything, and that made it worse.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
So this is I didn't actually think that was going to fix anything, but Innis insisted, and so I did.
Oh, good. GSC aren't actually overtuned. They require an experienced pilot.
Yeah. So one of the things that's interesting about this is you have the upper quartile win rate on the bottom quartile peer win rate on the left. And so you have 4 quadrants. In quadrant 1, you have mid-table menaces. In quadrant 2, you have overtuned. In quadrant 4, you have experienced pilots required. And then in quadrant 3, you have struggling.
So what we could take from this is the Garter overtuned. GSC, you just got to get good. That's
Garter inside the balanced box. Get it. Stop.
And Blood Angels. Blood Angels are overtuned. Look at what
Blood
that box
Angels are overtuned based on this little thing.
I'm not playing them anymore, dude. You do whatever you want.
You can look over here at the upper quartile win rate for Gene Sealer Colts being 62 and the bottom quartile being 47.
Now, I think the actual thing to pull out from that is the bottom quartile play rate is 50%. Is 50 people.
Correct.
Bad players are not playing GSC. And I think that's like not universal. And I don't mean that bad players. People who are less experienced with tournaments, going to events for the first time, playing their early ELO events, or have lost 1 or 2 events, are not swapping to GSC. That's just not what's happening. There are some people that were already GSC players who are not, who are in the bottom quartile, who are still playing them, but the weaker end of the room is not swapping to GSC. Top players are swapping to GSC.
I mean, I think that's what GSC, even if my entire goal is to win singles events right now. It's just too much of a pain in the ass. There's no like the investment on GSC does not get paid back to you, right? Like owning an Eldar army is worth it. They're going to be busted for long periods of time, for large portions of editions, for many of the editions. Owning a GSC army is like, dude, you get to be fucking awesome for like 3 months, and then really bad for like a couple of years. Also, that'll be $3,500, and it's like.
I will say though, those periods of power, it's powerful.
Yeah, sure. Every once in a while, they forget that you probably should just make them use the blips, and then we get shit like this.
We'll talk a bit about Celtic Cup after this section.
Yeah.
Right. And then this is the last thing that I'll show today. So this is the meta across all of 10th edition so far. So this is where we started in the wilds of early 10th.
Eldar, dude.
We are all the way over here now with a 4-week rolling average, where basically every single faction with their 4-week rolling average is inside of what GW considers a balance window.
Click on GSC for me just to look at this.
This is what I wanted to do, actually. All right, so this is what GSC have done. They've started out and they went really high, almost Eldari high for a little bit there,
and that was a grave sin. Yeah,
that was a grave sin.
You can't do Eldar's thing. That's Eldar's thing.
And then they had. pulling up, and then they went all the way
There we
down. And then this is, I think, when Innis around when you picked them up along with Eric Lutheris.
Yep.
And then this is where we've ended up.
Oh, God.
Look,
yeah,
we
everything
talk
is
about faction
actually-
abandonment sometimes, don't we, Anthony?
All
Where
the
sometimes
time.
all it takes is somebody just going, "Hey, idiots, this is how you do it."
Yeah.
I think custodians are going to do that because of Folger.
I'm confident that
Because
custodians will do
we've been
that.
saying that. We've been saying that for months.
Yeah,
And
literally
custodians are
months.
fine. Custodians are fine. People are just pussies and need to figure it out and play them better. And look at that. They're on the upswing. Just go play Talons. Stop being cute and playing your shield host. Go and hit things with reactive moves.
I mean, just like, it's not even being cute. Custodians have just been good. They're just boring. If you ask Folger, I'm sure he wasn't like my high-level generalship that I was able to put on display in all of my games of Warhammer. It's just not very exciting Warhammer. It's just like, I'm going to put the gold men forward and I'm going to shoot them with the tanks. You know what I mean? It's just not that exciting. Maybe, like, I don't know. It's fine. If you want to win a lot, it's really good at that. It's really good for developing fundamentals. It's really good for showing fundamentals. He got all of the details right in the games he played on stream. If you execute well with it, you'll do well with it. It's just also boring as sin because it's not very fast, in my opinion.
I will say, like, custodians have basically been in the balance window or just slightly outside of it for the whole edition so far.
You wouldn't know
they
it from the
just
way
sat in
custodians
it.
players talk.
I know. And like the general perception from custodians players is, oh, my faction is terrible. But really, it's been in the balance window based on win rate kind of the whole edition.
What are we
Except
just
for,
going to
like,
like
a
talk
period
about
right here,
nerfing custodians
period
now
right
just
there.
because they won worlds? Ugh.
And then
Yeah, no, that
here is-
doesn't seem necessary.
Man, this gets a
I
little
think
harder to see with
couple
some of
Thousand
the
Suns
colors.
to see there. Wow, it's purple on top of the blue and
This
red
is
background.
this is Thousand Suns. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody about a colorblind version of this at some point. And even Thousand Suns haven't really, despite
Can
the
you just
public
turn the highlight color?
perception of them. I wish I could.
No, I mean, like, we can change it in Tableau, surely.
Yeah, we'll change it. I won't change it. Cliff will change it.
Cliff
in
will
Tableau.
change
But
it.
yeah, like even Thousand Suns, whose perception is that they've been out of whack all edition, have been within this balance window for the most part.
I mean, what? Yeah, sure, I guess.
Yeah,
This is one
But-
metric, not every metric, right?
Yeah.
That's, I think, how we have to approach that one.
metric. It is a 4-week rolling average for win rate. It's not every metric, so we don't need to get too excited. But if we look
If I
at
never
this,
get Doom Bottled again, it will be too soon.
the good news is that for the most part, the game has tightened in towards the window quite well. And so, like, we are actually probably in one of the more balanced metas that we've been in 10th edition thus far. We do have outliers in it. GSC is an obvious one. Guard has tons of event wins and a large player base, which is also not great. Imperial agents kind of are down at the bottom, which maybe needs a tap, but maybe not, because maybe Imperial agents aren't real.
Just
and that's
let
not
them
a
be
thing that we need
bad.
to care about.
Like,
Yeah, it's also okay,
agreed.
like the occasional thing to be bad. It's more problematic if something is just astoundingly amazing.
I mean, not every like crazy niche army like that needs to be very good, right? What they should have done with custodians is just rolled them into agents and moved on with their lives. But alas, here we are.
Yeah. But yeah, the meta looks good, and we're about to drop 30 detachments on it in a balanced data slate, and we'll see what happens.
Well,
with that.
27. We've just dropped 3 on it. I
27.
don't think much is going to change. So that's, you know.
I really do think that this meta was just like a little bit of tuning away from being like generally quite good.
Mhm.
But this is like the GW classic, right? We get fairly close and they're like, by the way, chaos. And
ultimately, the game exists to sell product, right? So, but yes.
I guess they're clearly not related. Like, they do not change things to sell things, because otherwise they would change different things. But
No, but I think in that sense, like, it's in their best interest to keep the meta cycling, right? Even if it's not.
I think they definitely could keep things cycling while also not just being like, things are almost good, fuck you.
We don't we don't know if this is going to be a heavier or light balance day slate, in fairness.
Correct.
I'm not so much referring to the slate as I am
the detachments.
giant fuck off pile of detachments.
That's fair.
I will say that at least thus far, like with the new kind of approach and the new people that GW has brought on, that at least it seems like
Things are
we're
better.
working towards much better situations. Like the game would be probably more similar to 10th in early 10th than it is like current 10th if they hadn't hired on people like Josh Roberts and stuff like that to help them with the with game balance. Like the competitive game balance is much improved because they've taken like a better approach to it.
Well, they've taken
And
competitive players and had them do the competitive balancing, right? That's,
yes,
fucking
I mean,
perish the
100%.
thought, but
I know, but it is a big step for GW, who has historically not done that kind of stuff, and the game is much more balanced as a representation of that.
right.
So I am cautiously optimistic that what we'll see is that, like, even with 30 detachments, there will be some chaos early on because 30 detachments is a fuck ton of detachments, and a balanced data slate also upends kind of the status.
I'm really looking forward to LVO. It's basically my I think it's going to be the good kind of chaos. I really hope it's the good kind of chaos. That's what I'm.
There we go.
Yeah, I personally, based on the cadence of the 3 detachments we've been shown so far, and the knowledge that there is a change to ambush coming, whatever it may be, I am reasonably. Right now, I'm not worried. There is time for that to change, but right now, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a GSC tournament.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
I know, I'm pretty great. So some of you may remember from that episode 2 weeks ago where we had that guy Floof on, and they came on and they told us all about their insane Horde Host of Ascension list. And on the Sunday before list submission, I played a few games and I was like, kind of not feeling it for like the Outlander Claw list. The event terrain was super dense and just wasn't feeling it. So I went, let's just YOLO Horde. So I YOLO'd Horde. And then I proceeded to play 5 games to 20 nils and 1 game to a 19-1. And then my opponent conceded the final before we played it.
What?
He wanted to go home. It was round 7 and he didn't think he could win. So he was like, no, I'm not doing it.
Fair. Yes.
So yeah, I played 110 model Host of Ascension, courtesy of Floof's wonderful, wonderful list. And I dropped down from reserve and shot a bunch of people to hurt, and then stood on a lot of objectives. I would say I shot a lot of people to death. Not really. Mostly hugged their transports while they stayed inside them until turn 5. A lot of that. Killing the unit, I did a lot of kill the unit with the shooting phase and then have the Deathwatch veterans fall out of it and now they can't armor of contempt, or that kind of thing, which was pretty good. A lot of 3-inch deep strike into plunging fire. That was good fun. Enjoyed doing that. It was great fun. I had a really good time with it. You can watch my my game 6 against Sisters on stream. It is really, really tough to watch a Sisters army that can't one-shot a unit of 20, have to activate into 20-mans that are just going to leave when they try. And I'm just so I'm going to go away.
Billion rules when they do.
Yeah, exactly. Lethal and sustained, and then drop back in, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I at one point, literally, I'm sat there, it's my turn 3. I have perfect board control. I'm holding his home objective if I want it, and I'm sitting there I have 4 squads of acolytes still to put down, and I don't know what to do with them. There is literally nothing I can do. I can drop in and shoot Morven Val, who's going to Armor of Contempt, with some flamers that will wound her on 6s. But I can't physically fit 20 more acolytes around her because she's against the wall. So I'm just I just can't do anything. So I just ended up just putting them down to be if I draw containment next turn, they're there. These ones will throw a 9 from behind the wall. One of them hit it and killed Val. Did 3 damage to her, finished her off. It was very stupid. Just I got nothing else. I dropped them in to shoot an exorcist through how the tipping point super dense board has the board edge touching ruins, but there's that gap down the side. He was touching it because he had fallen back from me, was touching the ruin, and I could see him down the side of the board edge past the obscuring ruin. So I just went there, shot him at 9, and then charged. I was just yeah, I guess that's the thing I'll do. I killed the exorcist as well. That unit killed the Cassier and Val. Yeah.
So mean.
Let's go flavor rats.
It was very silly. I dropped 1 point. I went second in Purge the Foe against Guard, and the Guard got staged, and that was it. Sorry, no, I went first, and the Guard got a turn of killing me before I was on top of them. Yeah, we were talking the game out at the end because I had tabled him, and I decided I didn't redraw Bring It Down because I was confident I was going to win, and I won by 50 instead of 51. And if I'd redrawn Bring It Down and scored any 3-point card, I'd have 20 to them. But I wasn't upset about it at the time because I dropped a point on game 3, and I was like, but then I didn't drop a point again afterwards, and I was like, oh, this is upsetting. Shout out to the game 5, which was definitely the most cerebral. I screened out the full board 9 inches against my GSE host of a century playing opponent, and then killed everything on the table except one bubble of stuff. And then when you get your 3-inch deep strike, and that's it. And he went, "No, I'm done. I'm going home."
Damn.
I don't feel bad because it was a mirror, but that does suck.
No, dude, it was so rough. You just like, I just look at it and I look at his deployment zone. I'm like, I can fit like 5 units in your deployment zone, and then also 3-inch deep strike. And we're just going to do that. So I just did that, and then I just rolled a bunch of 9-inch charges at him, took his home objective off him, and was like, I'm holding the objectives. I also rapid ingressed my Primus squad into overwatching half his Gene Stealer squad to death, which then didn't kill a Neophyte squad, which then rezzed into the corner and screened that corner out. It was just like, oh, I feel so good at war.
Oh, God.
So yeah, I will be doing an initial reports for it. I'm currently tentatively planning on recording it on Friday. So that should hopefully be out Friday night for anybody who wants to see the full down and dirty on me running that. With that said, yeah, thank you very much, Floof, for your fantastic list. I know you won your GT with it this weekend as well. Floof managed to be one of the host of essential wins for the weekend. So yeah, really just showing that there is even more ways to build GSC. I know Danny Porter also went 5-0 at an event in Poland. He came 5th with it because Poland was using true 20-0 scoring. But he did go 5-0 with Xenocreed. So that is now all of the detachments have demonstrated they are perfectly capable of 5-0 a tournament, except Brew Brothers.
Well, I was like, wait a second.
I mean,
look,
I
Nuts
bet you
keep sending me Brew Brothers lists, so let's not like. But
Innis hasn't pilfered somebody's Brew Brothers list to win yet.
It's not
look,
gonna be
I claim absolutely zero originality. I changed every single list I played at least a little bit, and all of them felt better for the changes. But I will claim no originality. That is not a thing I need. I am more than happy to competently win events. As I always say this to clients, writing good lists is a separate skill set to being good at 40k. You don't have to be good at one to be good at the other. They definitely have correlation, but it is not required that you be good at one to be good at the other.
I would say it's like actively bad to waste time list writing unless it's like time that you could not be spending practicing or doing something more productive.
Yeah, you're kind of like, unless you're trying to literally win super majors, you don't need to be innovating. And even trying to win super majors, like there's diminishing return. There is genuinely like strong returns for playing something that people are not expecting when it comes to like winning at the very highest level.
Sure.
But it is like coming from the perspective of you don't necessarily want to be the known quantity in a game. Your opponent is going to have a much harder time having a game plan for you if you've innovated, but you're talking such small like edges at the highest level. But when you're trying to, win the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th games, there is value in the surprise factor because you should be playing evenly matched players. So small edges have exponential advantages in that sense.
Non-zero gains.
Yeah. So, we're going to have a really fun LVO, like I said, because we've got plenty of time. Hi, Anna.
Anna's just walking into frame. I can't. Hold on.
Okay.
So with that, let's move on and let's very quickly do the plugs. And then we'll talk detachments and then we'll do questions.
Yeah. Sounds great.
All right. If you're here, 117 episodes in and an hour and 3 minutes in, you're probably enjoying the show. In which case, it'd be really great if you could do a couple things for us. One would be to leave a like, a comment, or subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already, or in your various podcast feeds. It really helps us out with discoverability and making sure that people know who we are and helping us continue to bring what we hope is pretty good content to you guys. There's a bunch of stuff coming out of us. I've got a thing to talk about when we talk about detachments and the initial report stuff, and obviously the main show, as well as all the other shows. So yeah, if that would be a really big help for us. If you're in a position to, and you would like to support us a little bit more, you can check out YouTube memberships or patreon.com/statcheck. $5 a month gets you access to our Patreon Discord community. We have things like the Vibe Check League, just generally awesome conversations. We make fun of the guy called Isaac a lot.
Isaac's great.
Isaac's great, yeah, I know, but he's really easy to make fun of.
Well, he does it himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll probably even shout you on the show if we find you interesting enough to bully. So yeah, that would be really appreciated. You can also check out all the other various shows on the network. That's End of the Matrix, X and One, Take All Comers, and Champions of 40k. You can find all of them on our YouTube feed or wherever podcasts are found. If you'd like to support our sponsors, you can check out red-dragon.ca for all of your various hobby, tabletop, and gaming needs. Wonderful, wonderful store in Ottawa, Canada. You can also check out J15 Games, Saltart Games and Weyland-Yutani for terrain, widgets, movement sticks, all the various kinds of things. They're all various different places around the world. G15 Games for the USA and Canada, Weyland-Yutani for Europe, and Saltart Games for Europe and the UK. I would strongly recommend you check them out. All the links are in the description, as well as various discount codes. If you're a StatCheck patron or YouTube membership member, you can also get a 15% discount code for Red Dragon. I can never remember that one off the top of my head. Through that.
It's a lot. It's like 20 or something for Red Dragon.
20 sounds right, but I think it's 15, and I don't want to oversell it. Lastly, if you'd like to check out coaching from either, now this list keeps growing, myself, Tyler, Noj, Lucas, Pumbaa, Nassim, or Liam VSL, you can check out stat-check.com/coaching or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com if you would like to get help with anything coming out. We've got data sheets, we've got data slates, we've got data sheets, we've got detachments. Titus came out today. Is there anything you can do with him? Probably not, but I can tell you for money. And we've got a bunch of events coming up. We've got the Nottingham GT, we've got LVO, and then all of the various events for the new year. One of my clients already qualified for next year's World Championships. So yeah, shout out to everybody who is looking at getting that over. Quiet time over Christmas and New Year normally, expecting it not to be. But if you would like to work with any of us, do drop us a message. Anywhere good messages can be found.
I have one thing that I need to shout out. Jeremy and I were on Art of War Down Under's most recent episode with Adam Camilleri. We talked about kind of capping where the meta's at going into 30 detachments. And then if you're interested, go check it out. Definitely support that show. Adam Camilleri is an amazing human being and makes a great show.
That sounds accurate. I probably believe that.
I was Adam's second, first, something like that, patron for his Down Under when he made it, and I still pay him.
I pay him. He apparently pays us. So we just circle that $5 around between.
I mean, if we're both paying him, he's up on us. So
it's true. Well, we just need to get him to pay for 2 accounts, obviously.
That's right.
All right, Adam.
Get his editor to pay for one.
That's true. Get your editor in here, Adam. Make him pay us money.
Figure it out, Seamus.
Exactly. All right. Detachments. We have 3 of them. We have a Death Guard one.
Yeah. So before we get too far into detachments, I want to quickly say something. We are going to be doing, I will be doing every Sunday or Monday. I think the next 2 Sundays and then the Monday after that, because I'm at an event for one of them. We'll be doing a review of the last batch of data sheets, all of the ones that came out in the week prior. I'll be going through within sort of the initial reports format of going through the detachment, interesting things about it, a sample list with some ideas from people in the community. I'll be pulling in from all the other various static hosts on interesting lists for them. Anthony will be writing the world leaders list. I'm going to make him a gunpoint, all that good stuff.
Why is it?
I know what. Because it'll be funny.
I don't think there aren't even guns in Scotland.
You're hard to make do things, Anthony. That's really what I'm getting at.
That's not true at all.
For stat check, it can be.
All right. I mean, it depends.
God damn.
I'm kidding. So yeah, we'll be getting all of the various awesome hosts. We'll be writing lists. We'll be coming to you with ideas. So I'll be doing that at the end of each week, basically. So it should be this Sunday, then the Monday the week after, and then the Sunday the week after that. And that should hopefully be everything up to and including the 24th. And yeah, we'll be doing a full review of them. I will be doing everybody's favorite thing of vaguely tiering them, being I'm going to sort them out at 5, I think is the way I'm going to do it. But the idea will be to be doing it in reference to all of the detachments that have come out before, so that we have a bit more of a framework. Because right now, it's really easy to be like, hey, these are all B-tier detachments that have come out so far, but without context of how good they are in relation to each other, and obviously the balance data slate as well. When that does drop, there will be a lot of information to flow there. So yeah, do keep an eye out for that coming up on the YouTube channel as and when it does. But with that, shall we talk? Which one do we want to talk first? Because it came out in order. We've got Flyblown Host for Death Guard. We've got the Lion's Blade Task Force for Dark Angels, and we have the Warrior Bioform Onslaught, I think, for Tyranids. So where do we want to start?
Let's do them in order. Let's start with the Death Guard.
Go for it.
All right. So Death Guard has.
We should.
I don't think we need to run through the details on everything.
Yeah, we should just do this
broad level thoughts.
Super high level. Otherwise, we'll be here for fucking ever. The Death Guard one is interesting enough in that it gives you movement, and that seems to be a thing that Death Guard really need. Scout is pretty good. Stealth is definitely not the same as being -1 to weapon skill and ballistic skill, but it is a lot more effective in the early game when you're getting torn up by guns, because you're not going to be in contagion range, which people seem to forget that contagions have a range a lot of the time.
And notably, like, if you're going down the Plague Marine route, like, they have Fight First already. They're not as vulnerable to the -1 weapon skill, ballistic skill stuff. It's not as good for them. It's still good, but they are generally more concerned with getting shot than they are with getting punched by light arm stuff.
And you get that genuinely fucked up Pile and Console 6 strat. That shit
is, like... I've been playing a ton of Biosanctic, and that strat is like the best thing in Biosanctic, is the 6 pile consolidation stratagem.
It's not, but it's good.
It's
that bonus to charge strat is fucked.
Sure. They're joined together, right? Is the problem. Like, very much you use one of them when you use the other a lot of the time. It's one of the most compelling things about the detachment, along with the infiltrate enhancement and the plus to charge, right? Whether it's from the detachment or from that. Being able to, like, perform insane slingshot charges, get around Fight First, get around transports, it opens up so much dimensionality for combat armies. It really does feel like playing 8th edition again, frankly, when you're playing with that. Now, it doesn't have the same rider that the Gene Suck Up one was, of going towards units, not models, but it is still an insane amount of movement. Like, every Death Guard unit with that stratagem moves further in the fight phase than they would by advancing 6.
That's true.
It's
bad, but it's true.
Insanely true. Death Shroud move 3 times their movement value across the fight phase if you slam the strat on them. You're able to do things like charge a target with some Plague Marines, finish it off, and then the Death Shroud that also charged it, slide 6 inches past the thing you charged into the next wave, kill it, consolidate into the next thing, tag it up with -1 to wound Death Shroud that are maybe also -1 to hit from Typhus or -1 damage from a Terminator Sorcerer.
I mean, just all sorts of problems, right? Like, that's very good.
Or just, hey, here's 10 Plague Marines with 2 characters that have Fight First that are now blocking your entire army in. Also, their stealth, by the way. Good luck shooting them cheaply, right? Like, you're forcing major problems on your opponent's activations, and, like, you're doing it a little bit faster because of Scout. You're a little bit harder to shift. Like, is it as good as the Index one? I don't know. I think it's genuinely interesting, though, and that it opens up a new playstyle for Death Guard that they don't have right now, which is movement shenanigans, which is just wildly different. And I think that's really cool. And it's the exact kind of thing I like. It doesn't make the current playstyle better. It makes the same data sheets good, but Death Guard don't have a ton of data sheets, so it's kind of hard to be like, oh yeah, but this one makes Blight Lords insane.
Yeah, that would be challenging without being like, Blight Lords get these rules. Not that anyone would ever print a super specific detachment like that.
No, not at all.
Not a single time.
Yeah, I like the Death Guard one a lot. I think there's a world where, depending because they've said that all of the index ones will work with the codex, does the index, like, contagion rule stay the same? Or, like, because obviously they added it to the detachment rule, like, I could see that changing. I could see it not changing, right? Like, how does that shift about? Like, this will be very interesting, and a very interesting one to keep an eye on, especially if there's more movement options or, like, data sheets change.
I mean, I would not be surprised if it didn't change.
Yeah, I wouldn't at all either. It also has, like, really good enhancements for no reason. Like, the enhancements in the core Death Guard are terrible, but in that, they're, like, genuinely really good. So
yeah. So there's a lot of options there.
I will admit, reading the one where it's like, yeah, your model regains all of its wounds at the end of every phase was just kind of amusing.
Thank goodness it's infantry locked.
But, yeah,
why does it have to be?
But it's also funny.
You know what I mean? Like, you're never, genuinely never going to see a Death Guard Demon Prince. Why? Like, that would have been, like, a great way to make it fucking 30 points or some shit. Make it really expensive. And then just let it be a thing that you sometimes do. That would have been sick.
Yeah, that's also fair. I could see it being a little too frustrating on that guy. Like, I think it would need to be differently pointed for a Demon Prince versus an infantry character is maybe the problem.
No, it should just be a Demon Prince only enhancement.
Oh, okay, right.
And then just be like 40 points.
Demon's detachment. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
The reroll ones to wound for contagion range one is really solid, and then also the loan up 18 one. Like, even just having, like, a loan up 18 Tallyman that generates CP set on your home objective for the genuinely compelling stratagems in this detachment, like, it's not nothing in a world of exorcists.
Yeah.
Or having, like, I was looking at something like, you could do the like the lone up Terminator Sorcerer just pointing about, like firing his flamer, being annoying. Like, yeah, it's only 18-inch lone up, but that dude is durable enough that most stuff isn't like he's not getting blown up by guns across the board, and he's got like 24-inch range,
which
like,
is all
could
you're
be
asking
annoying.
for, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't
Exactly.
have to be, you know.
Just like he holds a side objective reasonably well. He brawls with small things. Like, yeah, I could see it. Or you put it on like a 10 of Plague Marines inside a Rhino. You just drive it directly to your opponent. You're like, only this side of the board can interact with this.
Yep. I mean, same thing. Like, it's not terrible on Shrouds if they can do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, if the fortifications that walk at least can't get shot while they're walking.
It's not so bad.
Yeah, exactly. They can't get Basilisk down to movement too.
Sick.
So yeah, I generally like Flyborn Host. Like I said, I don't know if it's better than the Index one, but it is definitely compelling alongside it.
Yeah. Which is all we're looking for, right? It doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to fucking.
Shit doesn't have to get crazy. This detachment does so much less damage, right? That's the thing that I cannot overstate enough. Like, you do not have -1 save. That is a huge deal.
Well,
Death Guard
you
universally have pretty low AP. You also lose the -1 AP stratagem. You lose the sustained hit stratagem. You lose the -1 to hit for vehicles. So Mortarion becomes way less durable if you want to run that direction, right? Like, you do less damage. This is a control list, not a damage list.
Yep.
But that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, taking up space, doing stuff. Speaking
Very
of taking up
teamsy.
space.
Hi, Pickles.
Pickles is a Death Guard player.
All right, let's talk about
Yeah, you would be.
Dark Angels, as they are next up in the release order.
Do you know what it is?
My opinion is like, this is fine.
Yep.
Next.
Yeah.
Like,
so broad strokes opinion on this one. There is one of the best stratagems in the game in this detachment.
yeah, that's true.
Yep.
The heroic intervention, you get
Amazing.
you get 9th ed heroic intervention. Holy crap, that is so good. Cannot overstate how annoying a squad of inner circle companions behind a wall on an objective with that is, right? That unit fucking slams with Fight First or Azrael or a librarian, or like you put a chaplain in there for +1 to wound and +1 OC. You got 19 OC sat behind a wall. Then like, you can't stand here, and you look at it and you're like, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, I agree, I cannot stand there. And then you look at it and you're like, wow, there's no output increasing stratagems, and I'm using Space Marine data sheets.
Which, you know, it's fine.
Like, it's fine, but it's not more than fine, right? That's it's okay, but it doesn't do too much. It just does cool things. Invader ATVs in this detachment might be one of the most frustrating things in the world. It's so funny. You're just like, this 60-point idiot is toughness 5 with 8 wounds. Take some desperate escapes. Take some desperate escapes. Take some desperate escapes. Oh, you didn't kill me. Take some desperate escapes. That's really annoying.
Plus 2-inch charges off of my deep striking units.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's also a real bastard for being like, you know, just kind
also
of...
all those all these Deathwing Knights I brought with me. Yeah. Jamming a Stormraven through a wall is genuinely hilarious. I have a sore desire to play a Stormraven with Azrael, 10 Hellblasters, and a Redemptor Dreadnought inside it, jam it 20 inches directly forwards, disembark my army, and then charge 15 Deathwing Knights from reserve and be like, I have delivered an army to you. There are 15 scouts and 10 infiltrators behind me, but here's an army in this box. Can you stop it?
Stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
plus
just
1
like
wound on
the Stormraven is doing its best Bifrost interpretation in that game, right? You're just
That's
like,
right.
I want to try that. That seems like a compelling and interesting to do. Is it better than Gladius? I don't think so.
It's definitely not as broadly applicable as Gladius.
Mhm.
Yeah, but what I do think it might be really interesting in teams, because this is a really good list for just being like, no, I'm on these 2 objectives, and you were not denying me primary, right? Like, that could be interesting. Like, there's a world where that's a way you play. You just be like, hey, I have 200 companion squads with Judicars on 2 objectives, and my home objective, and like 15 scouts and a Calidus assassin. You're not stopping me scoring. I just you just get 10s, right? I could see that being kind of interesting, right? In a world where you want a Marines for different reasons. Like, maybe there's a world. I think I could see that, and I quite like it. I wish there was any damage stratagem, just at all.
But plus 1 to wound, right?
No,
Yeah.
there's -1 to wound. There's +1 to wound in
No,
shooting.
there's a +1 to wound.
If it worked in combat as well, I would be like, yeah, okay, cool. But because it's ranged only, I definitely have a little bit of like, I like Deathwing Knights, but Deathwing Knights are low AP for what they are. for the points you're paying for them, AP2 is expensive. And underwhelming. Like they bounce into armor contempt quite a lot. So yeah, it's nice to have a -1 to win stratagem. It's nice to have a +1 to win stratagem. The +1 damage enhancement for a captain is goddamn hilarious. That guy on a Power Fist captain in an impulsor with the assault intercessors. Like he's not quite the Blood Angels one, but he will solve a lot of problems. Like he's the most like a Chaos Lord that you are going to get out of that guy.
You're
So yeah,
going to see a lot of Land Raider Redeemers with +1 to wound, I think, in the future.
Yeah, and a decent amount of Dreadnoughts. I know I was having a look at like the Wall of Dreadnoughts list. You do like 3 Redemptors, 3 Healers, twice Brutalis or Ballistas. I actually really like the Brutalis in this detachment. They're still probably slightly too expensive, but Brutalis with the ability to do the Heroic Intervention out of phase and then go in and do the mortal wounds in your opponent's turn is like genuinely quite funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it seems cool. I really like the stratagem. Just has me sitting there. It's like it gives me the same kind of brainworms that the Night Lords detachment did, where the Night Lords have that charge you when you fall back stratagem, and you look at it and you're like, that might be a top 5 stratagems in the game. I mean, it's just in the worst detachment I've ever seen.
The Dark Angels one is so much better than that.
Yeah, it's that. I think that stratagem is still top 5. This is better than that
by like
a mile.
Yeah.
So I think it might be the best stratagem in the game now that Phantasm's been nerfed.
People are gonna read this and think we're crazy. Like, I cannot overstate how fucking nuts that strat is.
Yeah. 6-inch heroic, like old heroic, was a thing you played armies for in 9th edition.
Yep.
And you just have it on Dark Angel stuff in a world where Fight First is as good as it is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like it's like this, Mists of Deimos, like a couple other ones, right? Like that are like in that conversation for fucked up, does too much stuff, right?
Yeah,
right.
It's like narrow, dude. Like I said, we're
splitting hairs between like this Mists of Deimos and like the average 3-inch deep strike, right?
I mean, it's like this Mists of Deimos and kill something in melee and res Angron, right?
3-inch deep strike, I think, is like arguably just as good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Fire and Fate, right? Like those are the ones that, like, for me, are like this conversation of that level of power.
Sure.
It's up there. Phantasm again is in that conversation.
Army defining style stratagems.
Yeah, it's so good, and the detachment around it's not Gladius. The detachment around this is not Gladius, but is that stratagem good enough to overcome it not being Gladius?
It might be.
Want to try.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a more fun way to try to play, also with some stuff that you don't get to play in your Gladius list. Maybe you have Samael or Black Knight.
GW, if you're listening, give the Lion Deathwing.
Or both of them. He should have both rules.
Why does the Lion not have the Deathwing keyword? Give the Lion Deathwing, and we can have.
He doesn't deserve it.
Look, Anthony, just
he's too old to be.
Let the Lion have Deathwing as a treat, okay? Give me Charles Dance with a 7-inch charge. That's all I really want for Christmas.
No. All right, Tyranids. The Warriors, like reminiscing about Leviathan's heyday of having good invulns, having melee capabilities.
This detachment came out, and the reminder that you can only take warriors in 6-man units now really did a damage on me. It did significant historic psychic damage to me. And if you haven't been listening to the podcast long enough to know why 6-man warrior units would cause me damage, you don't get to know. Sorry.
That's fair.
But I'm sure when someone was like, invuln all the warriors, Innes and I somewhere woke up in the middle of the night like, you're going to do what? Now, thankfully, they stopped there, right? Like, it didn't get crazy from that point. Like, nothing too wild happened, right? As someone earlier pointed out in chat, that you can get, roughly 70-something warriors for like 1,700 points if you wanted to go down that route, because they cost almost nothing now. You shouldn't, because hiding that many 50 mil bases is going to be rough. But
they're also like really overhangy. If you've not noticed, warriors don't fit in a 50 mil base.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say this detachment is bonkers to me because every single rule in it would be just so fucked up if it wasn't on Tyranid Warriors.
Yeah, it was.
You're like, wow, +1 OC and battle line and a 5 invulnerable save and a reroll ones to hit. They hit on 4s in range.
Every time I was reading through a Tyranid Warrior datasheet, I was reminded how mid Tyranid Warriors are in this one, because it's like, this would be fine, and then you're like, but its melee profile isn't great. This would be fine, except it hits on fucking 4s. Like, there's a lot of...
It really, to me, it feels like the way I feel like this detachment goes is that this detachment makes Tyranid Warriors a playable datasheet, and then you don't have a detachment rule. Is really how it feels to me. It's like, this is just what warriors should be, in the same way Possessed, right?
Yeah, I was
They're
just gonna say,
cheap and shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for this detachment to be like on accident fucked up, right? Because you can buy a laughable amount of 3 wound MSU with an invuln with good OC, notably different from Possessed.
I don't hate the 3-man warrior squad with like the range weapons for 65 points. Is like completely fine in this detachment. The problem is that nothing else in this detachment does anything.
That's not true. So if all this detachment gives you is it turns your warrior range squads into good OCA invuln having bricks that at yard pyrovore someone, that's not that bad. Is it better than sustained and feel no pains from invasion?
That's the point I have, right?
Perhaps not.
I think this is like, it's the Lion's Blade detachment for me, but just like worse, because the buffs you get are like fine, but every single list I've tried building with this, I'm just like, this would just be better as Vanguard for melee warriors or Invasion Fleet or Synaptic Nexus for ranged warriors.
Sure.
Is every single time I put a list together, I'm just like, this would be better if I just played a better attachment that does something for my exocrines, which is the thing I actually care about in Tyranids.
Yeah, that's fair.
I also have big, like, if you played with Tyranid Warriors recently, like, a Castigator will split fire and kill 2 squads.
It's not that crazy.
Now, a Castigator has to focus fire a squad. That's basically where we landed, right? This doesn't make them actually durable. A lot of units are durable because they have a 3-up save and cover or have armor type taxes. Tyranid Warriors are a 4-up save and they ain't got shit defensively besides a -1 to wound stratagem, and they're only T5. Like, it's not like they're just getting, like, insanely durable because of this. They're just no longer going to randomly get removed by, like, the spare Meltas on a Dominion squad.
Sure.
Right.
So, I am sure somebody's going to play 60 to 70 warriors. They'll put the Neurotartan in for the +1 to hit. They'll put in, the Zone Top squad that can go to strength 14. Like, the most interesting things are, like, you can put the Carnifexes with all One Eye to strength 9 on their Death Spitters, or the Acid Spray Fex to strength 8 and give it ignore cover with a stratagem. But it's like, these are a lot of stratagems.
I genuinely think this army is just like OC invuln having rats in front of bullets. And I think if you play it that way, you are much less likely to be disappointed by it.
So, like, this is kind of a thing that I want to show. Like, S11 exocrines, but, like, you can do a 1 CP strat for +2 strength. But is that much better than just rerolling 1 wound roll most of the time?
That depends a lot on
occasionally, if you're shooting exactly T10,
which is pretty common.
+2 to wound. Yeah. Right? Sure. But, like, that's not really exocrine's jobs. Maybe it is in this detachment because you don't have any other fucking way to kill vehicles. But, like, why are we not just running Rupture Fexes? I guess it's because you have different jobs, right? Like
other things, yeah.
Yeah, but it feels like you're jumping through a lot of hoops to make your exocrine wound on 3s.
I don't think it's that many hoops. Like, in fairness, this detachment gets skull dragged in the mirror. If you play Invasion Fleet against this, you will fuck it silly. But maybe there are certain things we're having, like, being able to just be like, go forth and conquer my many shithead children.
Trying to kill a Maliceptor with this detachment, and I'm not upset.
Yeah, you're going to be there for the next month, and he's going to kill 3 or 4 of those shitter MSU units that I was talking about while you do it. But maybe it works out,
Yeah, like, I get that it's double against toughness 10. And that is compellingly interesting occasionally, but it's still only, like, what that actually means, because an exocrine isn't actually good at killing vehicles. Like, even rhinos are, like, durable as shit to an exocrine. What you're saying is you're going to get 6.5 shots, you're going to hit 5 of them conservatively if you stood still, or you've got rear ones from another exocrine, then you're going to wound 3 of them now instead of you're going to wound 3.5 instead of 1.5. So you're adding 3 damage for a CP. Like, that's fine, but it's just grenade.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's your grenade stratagem as Tyranids, yeah.
Yep, great. So my grenade strategy is a conditional +1 is conditional +2 to wound. Like,
Yep.
Fine. Yeah, if they drop cost of warriors in the data sheet, then yeah, man, of course it's gonna be like we're gonna reassess it.
God
Sure.
damn, no.
But,
No.
Just
like,
stop
make
making
melee warriors damage 2 or something.
Stop. Well, I don't know about all that.
let's not do
that.
let's
yeah.
not with our twin linked with 6 attacks each. Like,
Yeah,
maybe let's
Like, it would require some other changes, but
Walk that
like
back.
Tyranid warriors don't have a great
Put 'em up-
role for
put them up like 8 more points of modeling. Put them 10 points up, 10 points of modeling, give them a 3 up save and +1 damage, and we'll talk.
Yeah, sure.
They would be.
We'll make them
pretty
Terminators,
nuts, then.
basically.
They'd be
But-
pretty good, yeah.
Make 'em-
Yeah,
Put
that
them
would
up
be
15. Let me play with them and have them be a unit that's
Again,
compelling.
I think a lot of units would benefit from that. Like in the game, there's a lot of stuff that just has been like 10th out of being able to be used because the 10th was like your AP is dog shit and so is your damage. Fuck you.
Well, you should definitely make them into Valiants if you want to kill Tyranid warriors, not Reapers.
I mean, Reapers rip through warriors like they're children. What are we talking
Yeah,
about
but
right now?
Valiants also rip through them like they're children,
I don't
but
know,
also do
you
things to
don't-
the screens behind them.
I guess I don't know. I'm not sold on the Valiants ever since I played against the
It
Temple
costs
and the
you
Temple.
to take 60 to 72 warriors to LVO. Buy me the 72 warriors and pay for my LVO, and we'll consider it.
No, there you go.
And paint them for me because I'm not painting.
If
There
they
we
just
go.
show up painted,
Yep.
What about that
No, I
funny
still won't do that. I don't
gargoyle
hate
with
it
a
that much.
with a prime in it for the 5 up invulnerable save and -1 to hit it?
I think that's because you shouldn't do that because it's not. You're like missing the forest for the trees there. You're like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
make my cheap screen more durable.
It's a
just the
really, really good
wrong-
unit at doing a job that you don't need.
Yeah,
Like, gargoyles are already best in class screens. Just run 3 squads of them instead of like a 20 and a Tyranid warrior. Just
Right.
run 3 squads. Like, I don't get it personally. I do like the ability to have an advance in charge Broodlord or an advance in charge Hive Tyrant plus Tyrant Guard in this detachment. That's actually kind of interesting. It's the only way to get an advance in charge Hive Tyrant in the game for a foot flyer, for a foot tyrant. I could see that being kind of interesting.
I do think the
Um,
Broodlord with advance in charge, like that 30-point advance in charge enhancement is very good. You just need
Yeah.
to find a spot.
But again, why are we not just playing Vanguard?
True. I'm not saying you're wrong. I think the detachment is interesting though. It's kind of neat. Like I found $5 or something.
You can give the Harridan +2 strength. Get it to strength 12, which I actually kind of like.
calling it neat like finding $5 is pretty endemic of some of the problems with it.
Sure.
Yeah, my fundamental problem with this is it doesn't make Tyranid warriors an interesting data sheet, or Tyranid warriors are not an interesting data sheet. And what this detachment does is make them an interesting data sheet, and then doesn't give you a detachment rule. And Tyranid detachment rules are really good. Like, you are turning down Invasion Fleet, Vanguard, Synaptic Nexus is like the only one that's like sketchy compared to this.
But
And I
the
do think
strat-
the Synaptic strats are grenade strap, baby. You do a lot for grenade and Tyranids.
I mean, there's a bunch of strats,
And then like Crushers is really good now as well. So
the Crusher detachment rule fucking cracks. That rule is
Yeah.
so good.
especially now, like before it was only okay. Now it's like, ooh,
Oh.
baby.
Yeah, now it's awesome.
That
I
plus
played-
OC is so nice.
Yeah, it's very good. That whole detachment is quite solid. It is not
Yeah.
again thrilling to play, but
Yeah, I did some articles for Goonhammer recently on like the start competing for Nids again, and I was just like, oh man, I want to play Invasion Fleet again. So I might play Nids for my team event next weekend.
Yeah.
Just like, I want to play this again. I don't own Rupture Fexes. It's really annoying. I own 3 Tyrannofexes, but they all have acid sprays. I'm just like, they're all glued.
This honestly sounds like we're just giving a lot of Bs to these detachments.
I
so
have
that's
every
what
single
they
of these
are.
detachments in B tier. Yeah, like they're all. I maybe
shit.
give Flyblown an A. Like Flyblown like maybe slides to A minus for me. Nids is like a B minus, and then Lion's Blade is like a B. Right? I think I can stratify them a little bit. I think Flyblown is very clearly the strongest of them. Lion's Blade is really, really good stratagem with very mediocre surroundings, but like enough compelling things to be like, there is something there that I think you could make work. And then the Nids one, I just kind of makes me upset, and I'm like, I don't. Every list I write with this would be better as Invasion Fleet.
yeah, that sounds right.
Invasion
I'm
Fleet is
agreed
like
to do a death.
so much more. Like, I know people like to harp on Gladius as being like crowding for marine design space, because it is. Invasion Fleet just like every knit detachment has to stand up to invasion fleet, and it's incredible that so many of them do after changes. But like Vanguard and Crusher needed changes to get to being where like invasion fleet started, and Nexus is like probably still the fourth child of that book, like comparatively. But like invasion fleet it's so hard to give up sustained hits, especially the hits against your biggest problems, and then also the film of pain stratagem. Like
Also,
it's
dude, the rezzing shitter strat is
Yep.
fucking nasty too.
Mhm.
Invasion fleet is fucking good. It's just like playing invasion
Really
fleet
boring.
is just well, it's not like that boring.
You know
It's
what I mean.
fine, but like it's not.
It's the same thing we've been doing for a year.
Yeah, it's a lot of like chip damage, and I have high OC, and I'm on your
Yeah,
objectives.
it's
and chip
solid
damage.
fundamentals Warhammer,
Yeah,
and solid fundamentals Warhammer is very rarely exciting. But yeah, we're not going to do speculation stuff. Just it doesn't. You're going to find
matter.
out in
It's
like 11 hours, guys. Chill.
I'm not gonna speculate so that something can just come out and be
Goats.
right there.
It's gonna be goats. Just you wait. Goats.
I do hope it's a ghost attachment. I hope that it just doesn't have any access to devastating wounds. That's really what I want.
That would be awesome.
I actually want like. Is it bad that I want it to be compelling enough to get people to stop playing Call of Magic?
No, that shouldn't.
It should be bad. Whatever it is, it needs to be bad.
It should be bad, but I would like to stop playing against Call of Magic as well.
Yeah, no, not yet. I would be remiss if I did not mention the thing that I said is not going to happen, because I am confident and will not fund, and 3 people have mentioned it via Super Chat. I said that if we broke the Deceptor goal, which was notably $2,000, which would be $2,001, I would play Terminators, the World Eater 30 Terminator list with Angron at my next GT. List sub is in 9 days from today. I doubt very heavily that we are going to hit this. In fact, I frankly kind of don't want us to, but
I would, as a host and part owner of StatCheck, like to strongly encourage the StatCheck community not to engage in this behavior. It is not the kind of thing we should be encouraging. However, we are not responsible for you spending your money. And as I believe Anthony said in the backstage chat, whale's gonna whale.
Yep. So I'll do it.
But please don't make him.
But do if you want. That's up to you. But I already said I would, so I will. You've got.
I am standing by that. If Anthony does this, I will make him make content about it.
That's true. We've got 9 days, so good luck.
You have to do an Anthony reports about the event if it funds.
Sure.
Anthony reports violence.
Yep.
Violence.
I'll do all the IT work for you.
I'll do it. But if you want to get in on that, message Jeremy. I think he's organizing it. So.
I hate this so much. What charity is it in aid of? That's
the event is for the New Jersey Federation for the Blind. Oh yeah, and any amount that is donated that goes in excess of the Ruin My Weekend amount goes to the charity. So
yeah, I would strongly recommend, if you're considering doing this, just donate to the charity and bypass Anthony entirely.
You could do that. That's also an option.
All right, let's go on to listener questions. So, as always, there are 3 ways to get your question answered on the show. One is to be a patron member in our StatCheck patron/YouTube membership Discord and ask the question in the relevant show question thread. The second one is to leave a super chat on the YouTube live stream when we go live every Tuesday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And the third is to just ask a really good question that one of us catches an eye on and stars it, because if it comes up and it's interesting, we'll do it. With that, Nathan, take us away. Bake us away,
we're going to do the super chats real quick, and then we will do, since most of them are just
people who recently gave us money. There we go.
Ian, thank you for the $3 super chat that he promised to get Anthony to play 30 Terminators. Thank you to that one guy who gave $20, also money for WE World Leaders Terminators, and also an obligatory Gene Stealer Colts are fine comment.
See, 23 down.
Thank you to Cattle for the 5 pounds. That just says nerds. Thank you to Davlos for no question and no text whatsoever, but for the 5 SGD. And now the 2 questions. Thank you actually first to Letters from Lynx, who gave 20 SEK. Are these releases just GW trolling LVO?
I hope so.
It'd be funny if it was.
It would be funny if it was. And then that one guy asks a reasonable question, which I guess was, did Josh Roberts concede round 2 after his opponent just landed all his CA rolls?
I mean, that's just playing against GSC, dude.
Ben Jones versus Josh Roberts in the finals of the Leicester 200 and something player Super Major. Ben Jones passed every call ambush roll in turn 1 and 2, and Josh conceded.
Yeah, there's literally nothing you're meant to do about that.
You just lose. That's not. There are like 3 armies that can play through that, and like 2 of them are like Host of Ascension and Outlander.
Yep. All right, those were all the
YouTube
YouTube questions.
By the way,
those were the YouTube questions. We are going to transition over to Patreon questions. Like Ina said, if you join our Patreon, give us $5 a month, you get your question answered on the show. One of these is a song, and I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'll just think about it for a minute.
We're not going to do that.
We're not doing a song, no.
For the sake of getting out of here in soon.
Okay. The first 2 questions are from Isaac. What do you guys use to distribute your podcast feeds? As a new 40K content dude, need to know these things. You need to talk to Jeremy about that. Jeremy is the person who handles our podcast feeding stuff.
I'm fairly certain we use Podbean.
I do believe that it is Podbean, though. The second question from Isaac is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much trash talk will you, Nas, and Ben be participating in an LVO when you're staying at Ben's house?
I would imagine.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be wild. Our like Casa del Ben is currently me, Ben, Nassim, Jack Morris, Jeremy, and Harpster.
Oh wow! Godspeed, gentlemen.
So a 12 out of 10 for how much trash talk will exist in that house.
Yep.
It's gonna be rough. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Willow asks a question, which is, will Anthony turn into a corn cob if the World Eater detachment is a Terminator detachment?
All right, listen. I need you all to understand that I fucking love Chaos Terminators. I was their staunchest supporter during the CSM times in fucking 9th and again in the beginning of 10th.
I thought he played 10 Terminators at WGZ, guys.
This keeps happening where something I like is not good and I say it's bad and everyone's like, can't believe Anthony hates Drukari. Can't believe Anthony hates World Eater Terminators. Can't believe Anthony hates himself. It's so frustrating because it's always something I like and everyone's always like, wow, it's so crazy that he just hates it. Fucking drives me nuts. God damn it. That was good trolling.
He wants World Eaters Terminators to be good so bad. The only thing Anthony wants more than World Eaters Terminators is a Butcher Surgeon and Juggernaut Cavalry.
No, not that. You were so close. You were so close to things I actually want. The last one just goes right off the rails. If they put out, like, same thing, like some sick new sculpts.
In the joins Terminators, let's go.
Yeah, dude, that'd be fucking sick. Give them a little bit of extra movement so it wasn't competing with all your other shit. That'd be dope. Like, again, big red Butcher Terminators that were like 5-mans but fucking slammed, maybe had 4 wounds. Like, that would be fucking tight. But, you know, that's not what we got. We got guys with a pretty shitty detachment rule or data sheet rule because they don't get anything when they're at full health, which you should be as a melee army until you're, you know, doing the thing. Yeah, I don't know. That's just depressing, man. It makes me sad. I wish they were good and they're not. But if I get thrown a whole bunch of money, then we'll find out. Maybe I'm fucking full of shit.
I mean, clearly, it's worth saying the Terminators are not the best thing you could do in World Eaters. They are very clearly at least okay because people are going 4-0 and 5-1 with them and doing fine with them. Now, context is important, blah, blah, blah. But you can clearly win games with World Eaters Terminators. That is not a fault. It's just not the best way to play World Eaters.
Very good players can win games they were already going to win with Terminators. That is true. It does cause a bunch of problems for your army. It is what it is.
Sure. I'm absolutely down with that. But it's not nothing. It's completely possible to win games with World Eaters Terminators, and if they make a detachment that makes them better, I'm sure Anthony will be the first person to be like, I would like to try it.
Yeah, I have a terrible addiction to 3-wound models with advance in charge. I love that shit. That's my favorite archetype in the game. I would play it so fast. I just need it to be worth playing.
All right. John has a few questions.
Okay.
The first of which is, how do I give money to make Anthony play a World Eater Terminators list?
Just ask Jeremy. Just talk to Jeremy. Talk to Jeremy.
Don't also already super chat, so don't sweat it.
Yeah.
Will Gene Sealer Colt get an Uppy Downy detachment?
They did. It's called Host of Ascension. I'm sure
Dude,
it went up
like GSC Hypercrit.
That's what that is.
Oh man.
Already. We don't need more of it. They already
welcome to the Undercrypt.
Yeah.
God damn it. The undergrip detachment.
They actually downy uppy. After you put a unit down from deep strike, you have to pick it back up.
They
That's
go
it.
down.
Yeah.
No, that's what happens to my opponents when I Overwatch, Anthony.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. All right. The next question and from John is, how many hours per week should I be putting into improve to be competitive at RTTs?
Where do you live?
SoCal.
What do you mean by competitive? Is
Look, dude,
competitive
you just
like,
gotta play games, bro. You just gotta play games.
yeah, like that's most of it. Honest to God, all of the things that go into playing 40k that aren't just you playing more 40k are probably you scamming yourself into thinking that you're trying to get better when you're like got a spreadsheet open and you're doing math about your unit's damage into some obscure shit you're never gonna see.
Review your games and play games. That's
Yeah.
the stuff that gets you better at 40k, dude.
That's it. Next.
The next question is from Christos, which is, how often can we have Anthony Unleashed episodes with WWE and UFC references? Also, Anthony is your name now. That's throwing me off. Anthony, can we get the move detachment on Death Guard with the scout move? Any other
They did.
predictions?
They got it. It happened.
We got it.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll play any prediction gaming for future detachments, but Anthony, I guess we just need more WWE and UFC references.
You guys can continue to have Anthony Unleashed episodes as long as it's just me and Nathan, because Nathan always corrals me after I've already said something terrible and not before, and he's usually too busy laughing afterwards to corral me at that point. So that is your ticket forwards.
I've decided that we are the like quintessential comedy duo of like the straight man and the wild card, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
Like Anthony's
Which of you is
running
the
around
straight
letting
man?
us on.
Nathan
Me,
plays it straight,
actually,
and I'm the
yeah,
wild
play it
card.
straight.
I'm unconvinced that that's true, but sure.
Yeah.
It actually is what happens, but it is very funny.
Yeah.
Christos has another question actually. Given today's news, is Innis own 72 warriors? And if yes, will he run 72
I
warriors?
think I own like 40.
I mean, with a little help from your friends, you could be playing 72 at
I could be. I'm not going to. We're not using any of the detachments for my data for my GT or my team event. So, yeah. I was like, they're not going to be in the app. It's going to be in the app. I don't want the thing I wanted is because list submissions. Like, I didn't want everyone to have to be like re-updating their team composition every day based on new detachments. If people wanted to update it, it just seemed like a lot of work for like an event that people are going to put a bunch of prep into. So,
yeah.
All right.
If it was a GT, I would have just been like, yeah, fuck it, go for it. But for a team event, it seemed like it would fuck with comps too much. But if the data still comes out on the 9th, we are using it. So,
okay. The next question is from Ansar, which is why will the new detachment for sisters be Bloody Rose? They already have a Bloody Rose detachment. What do you want?
Yeah,
It's
again, we're not doing
Rose
prediction
one.
games. Like, it's not valuable.
Neil, are we excited for the Beast Pack to battle Electric detachment? God damn it, guys. No, I'm not excited about that.
Just skip the next ones that ask us to speculate.
I will say one very brief thing on this. I don't love detachments like that are coming out this way that are like, hey, run this thing that's not battle line as battle line, because it encourages you to buy a bunch of stuff you can't use if this detachment ever goes away.
Correct.
And I don't love that.
Yeah, it's not
like
great.
You can own 72 Terrible Warriors now, but like once this detachment rotates out, you'll only ever be able to play 18 of each of them again. Go and buy them though. I don't love that.
Yeah.
The next one I just want to answer because the answer is just goats to Thomas Perquasion. Whatever the Thousand Sons detachment is, it's going to be goats. And I hope that's just what you get. That's what you deserve.
Yeah.
Keaton's question is for me, which is, Nathan, can we get a 1 to 2 sentence abstract of your research? Mass Spec Gobert. That's actually the 1 sentence abstract of my research, which is Mass Spec Gobert. But I do spatial proteomics using proteoform imaging mass spectrometry. So I do spatial proteomics to look at the distribution of proteins in various tissues and disease states, and for drug discovery and biomarker purposes. I work mostly in ovarian cancer and ALS and in the pancreas. There you go.
Smart guy stuff.
Yeah, a lot of life decisions that were not as smart got me to this point in life.
Fair.
Frank asks 2 questions. First one is, what are your things you guys are hoping to see from the slate on a game-wide level?
Stop asking me to speculate. You're going to get it in the next couple weeks.
I would like to see the good armies get nerfed And the bad armies get a little bit of a buff. And for any armies that are sitting in the middle, some diversity changes where things that are ubiquitous in every list gets toned down a little bit, and some things at the bottom get taken up a little bit to improve game-wide diversity without changing the power level of everything. I would also like to see some of the more unhealthy mechanics change. Uppy Downy in general, I think should be changed, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I would like it to be like once per unit per game. It can leave the board and come back, no more than that. But
yeah, stuff that gets rezzed should not be able to be rezzed.
that would work. You know, lots of things like that. Like there's lots of little changes to just like mechanic-y stuff that would just clean up a lot of stuff. But I would like to see Tao's for the greater good become an action, please.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I will say that's just kind of what I want is like a cleanup. Also, like they seem to be doing some of that stuff because they've already announced some of the stuff that they're going to be looking at, like Miracle Dice and.
Oh yeah, I would like to see Sister just like
the
Miracle Dice
G-Circle
just get
coming
like
back.
nuked and then also just like points drop them to be a real army on the infantry. Like,
Yeah.
please.
If while we're at it, we could not buff Ultramarines, that'd be pretty tight.
Yeah, that'd probably be all right. Why did they get Ventress Effect?
I mean, and then they said in the. I wonder if they.
In other news, I
mentioned
just bought
that they're
Ventress.
changing Eldari. Never mind. We'll talk about it later.
I would imagine Eldar just like basically don't see changes, and that we just like, hey, you're getting a book, and maybe Guard as well outside of like Aquilons, probably.
It would be interesting to see if they switch them over to Battle Focus, since they said that's what the new thing is going to be, anyways, for most of the stuff.
Sorry.
I don't know.
What?
All right.
I'm going by.
We're going to keep going before.
Like, maybe
they
for more
they
Eldar
decided
LVO.
to take it. Just, I guess it would match the theme of we're going to take all the stuff where we eliminated like variants entirely with special dice and just eliminate them from the game.
Yeah.
The second question is, do we think GW dropping 30 detachments, this is also from Frank, worth of digital rules means we could maybe see a shift to more digital friendly rules in the future? I
hope so.
Like, this is already kind of like a pretty digital friendly edition, right? Like, we have an app, it gets updated, it has rules in it.
Digital friendly is like your TO or you win your best in faction.
Yeah, there you go. Like, that's the real problem. Like, it's a real pain in the ass for not those groups.
I have every one except Admech and Necrons, and whenever I play against Admech and Necrons, I'm just like, yep. Sure do. Hope these are the rules.
That part is bad, no lie. The other part, probably okay. The app is very usable if you have the codes.
As long as you've spent like $500, the app's dank.
Yeah, that's true. As long, well, or you're a TO, I suppose.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just run multiple 30-plus person events. It's really easy.
Yeah, it's real easy.
Idiots.
That's how you get. David, see, we're not singing it. I really appreciate you, but I'm not going to sing this League of Votan themed holiday carol. Even if Innis probably would be great.
$2,002, and I'll record it.
Can you just sing the first verse? In
No.
Scottish accent.
No.
Just the first verse.
Nope.
Give them a taste so they know.
$2,002.
All right.
Dude,
the next question is from
someone clip what Eric just said and send it to Brian.
Right.
God.
Eric said,
"You can get me send enough money, and I'll release the Liam and Nostri Hotel California video."
Check on the way. Oh my gosh. Why do you suppose some things keep sucking despite many passes? I'm thinking of fragile, fast melee like witches and demonettes, and demon princes of all flavors in particular.
Demonettes don't suck, and I resent that implication. That unit is completely fine.
No, they're bad. Demonettes are bad. What are we doing?
They're fine. I like demonettes.
They're not good. What are we talking about
Sure,
now?
it's fine. You're entitled to your opinion.
The game is pretty lethal.
Kind of
the game is pretty lethal, and fast, not durable infantry just kind of get destroyed off the table.
Well,
almost
they also don't.
instantaneously.
Honest to God, the main reason you don't see this in 10th when you saw it all the time in 9th is twofold. One, those units are not nearly as deadly as they used to be, and two, Overwatch is a bitch, and those two things combined mean that you're not doing it. Also, those data sheets are genuinely bad now a lot of the time, particularly most of the demon princes, and witches. Yeah. Oh,
there's
God.
like one and a half good demon princes. Like the Corn one in CSM is okay, and I don't hate the Nurgle one. It's just in demons, it's just way better to play the Great and Cleveland with the enhancement. So
like Lilith Hesperax is a fucking war crime, and even she cannot save witches.
Yeah,
which
she
is
only makes the
crazy.
witches okay. Like,
Yeah.
you attach her to a squad of witches, and it's like, yep, she sure does not die to Overwatch now.
Yeah.
Yep. They're her ablative
Maybe.
wounds. They're just her delivery system.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff, the Death Company forklift, which is actually one of my favorites.
That's a good one.
Anthony
Only
Wiley.
5.
Woods. The woods have squirrels. Squirrels are fun little guys you can feed nut to.
So,
Squirrels are rats with good PR.
Yeah, well, there's that too, but also I just like don't particularly enjoy living in the woods. It just kind of sucks. Also, like, I live far enough in the woods that there's also bears. You'll all recall earlier when Anna came in here for a minute. That's because there was a fox screaming while dying in the woods outside our house. That is not the best experience while you're just living your day.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, as many will know from the original name of our shitposting channel,
Yeah.
does not love bears.
Not a huge fan of bears.
Love beans.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is from Isaac, which is, how would you fix CSM? Clearly, chapters like Night Lords, Iron Hands, and others need some love, but not Black Legion.
I mean, they don't. Oh, this is a meme. Damn it! I like went to give this a real answer.
It is definitely
I was
a
like,
meme.
hold on.
The Night Lords detachment is just like, it's okay for some detachments to not be for tournament play. I think that's a thing that people are going to need to get real chill with 30 detachments dropping this month, is that some detachments aren't for you, and that's okay. And the Night Lords detachment, it's not for you. It's okay. It's for people who own 80 Raptors and really like lightning, and that's fine. The Iron Warriors one is genuinely kind of okay, and it probably shouldn't be better than that because it's a really frustrating detachment if it's good. So it's okay that that one's bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a ton of stuff like this, man. Just let some stuff just not be very good. GW.
It's okay that Invasion. It's okay that like Unending Swarm is the bad turret detachment. It's probably actively good for the game that it's the bad turret detachment.
It is so much better for the game because they refuse to just be like, these detachments are narrative only, that they just let some of them not be very good. If in an ideal world there would be like fucking 2 or 3 detachments, that's it for each army, and they would have a much easier
thing that
time.
like I always want to remind people of, you know how fucking annoying people like. I played a lot of Tyranid, so I'm gonna keep coming back to that. But you know how fucking annoying people get about failing Shadow in the warp tests.
Oh yeah,
like people get real frustrated when you battleship their shit. If those detachments were like really good, it'd be fucking so annoying. Like CK is bad at being a battleship detachment, and it's still like kind of annoying.
Dude, CK,
if they were good at doing that stuff, you would just man. Nobody wants that.
I don't know if I've talked about this a ton on the show, but like a lot of the times when I'm going to play a new coaching client, I play CK into them because everyone thinks their army's favored into CK across the entire world and the whole planet. That army, when played by like an even vaguely patient, myself, player, is so annoying. The amount of times there's just like uncertainty in your game plans now, and all that trash you took to like hold objectives and do containment and all that shit is getting murdered by missile hats. Dude, it's like, all right, let's see what your game plan is, bro. And it's great for that.
All right. The next question is from Ian, which is there a silver bullet for GSC, or are us non-GSC players just waiting for the slate to stop the pain?
No, dude.
Just wait.
They really ought to just like, oh, you mean like for other armies to do against GSC? No, you just get fucked if they hit all their CAs. What they really should just do is make them use blips again. Just like revert that change. Just be like, oops, our bad, and change it back. And be like, my mistake.
Fair.
But,
right.
You know, we'll see.
Ben Jurek says, the LBO house roster continues to grow. What are you the most excited for about your visit to Vegas?
Seeing you, Ben.
That is a good answer. I would also be excited.
Also steaks.
Also,
I mean,
slide that one in at the end. You got it.
Ben cooks good.
It's true. All right. Gabe C asks a question. All right. Innocent Anthony. Hi, guys. So I've been grinding away as a GSC main for all of 2024. Currently, my win rate for physical games is 60%. As a competitive Dead Hammer player, I try to stick to my main faction as much as possible to limit variables in my play. Other than grinding games, what can I do to start pushing my win rate and getting closer to my goal of winning a GT? Thank you.
Review your games, go through them, take pictures, like actually actively engage with, okay, what would I like? How would I change decision making? Set your game up on TTS again. Like if you don't have time to play a game, like do some stuff, prep some shit.
If you play an obscure army like GSC, basically never ask your opponent their thoughts after the game. This is gonna sound giga rude, but the odds that your opponent is in a position to give you advice that is onboardable and useful is very low. And if you just take in unlimited feedback from lots and lots of games, it sounds like you're playing quite a bit, you can get a lot of bad data in that mill. So just
you kind of go off of like review your gameplay, look at your games, look at your deployment, ask yourself if you like, what was my game plan? Was I deploying for this? How did that go? Right? Like actually review your tape. It's the only real way to like get better without playing.
Also, you're the exact person that should be signing up for coaching. Like lots and lots of people want to sign up for coaching to like, there's a wide spectrum of things that coaching can be good for in 40K, but in my opinion, where it's best used is that exact situation. Someone that is able to grind, has a lot of, like game time to play, is able to go to events with the goal of winning a GT, but would like to, not have to learn a bunch of shit that all the high level people know already so that you could just be told it and onboard it that way instead. That's ideal. You should be seeking out a coach that's a high-level player of the thing you're trying to get better at.
Okay. And then the last question is from Innes, and is very self-serving, and is who's number one in the ITC right now? And it is our Innes Wilson. Innes Wilson is currently the number one ranked in ITC, but not number one in ELO.
He's the fake points king.
I'm number 2.
He's the fake points king.
My average score is 1.5 across the two of them right now.
What?
I'm coming for you, Colin. I'm like 6 elo off or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
It is very close. It just got updated with the rest of the stats.
Colin, could you just go like lose an event for me? Like it'd be great.
You are currently like 4. You're 4.
3.8 elo behind him.
Yeah. Your win rate's better than his though.
It is. Yeah.
All right.
Folger just jumped up a ton though with WCW, so
I'm sure he did.
All of the WCW stuff is in there as well now. Basically, we're fully up to date on ELO, so if you want to go look at your ELO points,
back to only 8 of us in the 2000 club.
Yep. All right, and that is all the questions.
Poor Justin Moore and Tim Schneider got bopped out.
Bam.
All right, that is all the questions. So I'm going to do Innes's favorite part of the show, which is where we thank the lovely people who belong to the Crisp High Five Patreon tier.
It's a plate because there's also a cup, by the way. This is the one I get to keep. There's a quake, which is the actual thing. I poured my GSC army into it. That was what I did with it at the end. I just poured my entire GSC army into a cup, into the big trophy. It's getting engraved. I have to give it back next year. But
I love it. All right. So we're going to listen to my cat complain in the background for a second while I pull up the Google Drive sheet. If you join our Crisp by 5 tier, which is our $15 a month tier, you can get thanked at the end of each episode, as well as a bunch of other fringe benefits, like Crisp High Fives, kisses from the Polish members of StatCheck, etc. And you get to fill out what your call-out name is in our spreadsheet. And so I'm going to just do this now. Thank you. Christopher has officially left Scotland for England Irvine. We know that, Chris. Update your stuff to something more interesting.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Also, happy birthday, Chris. Thank you, Willow Weeks. Thank you, Dan F. Thank you, Luke, Dan F. McCarthy. Thank you, David. It's a Grotmas Miracle Clark. Thank you, Bra. Not gonna NGL, but I'm not Risen RN. No cap, just full Ohio. SMH, my head. FR, period.
That's some proper L Riz. You need to work on that.
Oh. Thank you, James H. Thank you, Colton, Dan F. Miller. Thank you, Fungus. Thank you, John V8 Gang. Why do I think the new Advent detachments will all sound like the end of the 12 Days of Christmas? 7 uppy downy, 6 3-inch deep strikes, 5 reactive moves.
Don't sing for them. You can charge them money for that.
I had to. I couldn't help myself. Thank you, Cam F. Dan. Morton, hog emoji. Thank you, Archon Rahal. I would like to formally apologize for my rude and hurtful comments towards Bubble Fart 69 in last week's episode. Thank you, Josiah Gattle. Thank you, Tank Commander Frankie. Thank you, Isaac. I've been mercilessly hacked by Innes these last few days, but for the record, the one time we played, I beat him. Was it on TTS with Towering Knights at the start of 10th into Death Watch? No comment, Tirada.
I were 1-1. I beat him in Commander.
For what it's worth, Isaac, the only time I've played in this, I also beat him.
And we don't talk about my first game with sisters ever. If you play
powerful...
while I mercilessly brutalize you, yeah, dude, it'll be fun.
my very powerful WTC list that had no flaws.
God, I still feel that neuroparasite in my. I'll still the true thing that I remember from that game though was the look on your face when you were like, "Nah, I'm not gonna fight vulnerable save this warrior squad."
Oh god. I lost a full squad of warriors to whatever the exact shot count of that many warriors is in multi-melta shots, and just was like, okay.
Yep, it was 8 shots on 4s and 4s, needing to roll 3s to wound, and I clean killed the warrior squad with 4
3s for
multi-meltas.
damage, not to wound. 4s for wounding.
4s, 4s, and 3s.
Just everybody died.
Clean through 6.
I did. I mean, and it sounds like he diced me a little bit here, but I did clean kill a full Sisters squad every turn with Neuroparasite, which if you've ever used that power, you will know is not how the average of that is.
All right, the next question, or the next one is my question. Do you think Santa's melee profile is Lightning Claws?
No, I think it's the Axe More Kai. It's like 6 attacks at 8-3-2, and he can sweep it 6-on-1.
He always fights first as well because he's faster than you.
No. He gets to move between turns because he knows when you're sleeping.
That's his special ability's name. Knows when you're sleeping.
Don't give anyone any ideas. Please do not let stuff move between turns.
That's going to be the new Eldar rule.
Shut the fuck up, Nathan.
Sleep cousin. Do you know back in 7th edition, the Eldar the rule for jet bikes was that when if you didn't charge with them, they could move 2d6 in the fight phase instead of charging. They could just go in any direction. This was on top of potentially fire and fading and and then like Board Spreaders could move when you shot them. So it was like Mr. Deimos on everything.
All right, the next one is thank you to Thomas. I put a print of someone's face on a Beast of Nurgle and took it to an RTT. Am I the bully for cohesion? I think yes. At that point, you are the bully.
Unless it was rude, in which case he deserved it.
I agree with that.
All right, and then thank you to All I Want for Grotmus is Light Harlequins again. Oh, I skipped somebody. I just got an idea for Necron Grotmus detachment. Army-wide 6-inch scout and double OC.
No.
Why?
No Necron stuff. Stop that.
The Necron one is just you get to pick ancient machineries as a secondary again.
Yeah.
And then the final one is about the new detachments. Jabroni marks without a life that don't know it a work when you work a work and work yourself into a shoot marks. I feel like I had an aneurysm reading that.
Yep.
And it hurt my brain a little bit doing that. Thank you to everybody who joins our Chris Pie 5 tier. I honestly enjoy y'all.
It was Dino.
God
damn it.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for sending me the picture.
Oh, no.
It's only bullying if Dino is having a rough day.
True. So thank you, everybody, for being in our Chris Pie 5 tier. I appreciate all of you immensely. It is very funny every week to get to read those, and it is even funnier when I'm not here, and then I get to listen to Innes read them because it sounds like it actually tortures him.
It genuinely does.
So thank you.
Stephen, the old Necron secondaries were not fun, and you do not get to message me that while I'm live on the show and try to tell me that Necrons are fun. Go away, stop it, get some help. I don't actually want people to know about this technology that you can just message us live during the show and we will probably respond, because that's 2 people that have just done it in the last 2 minutes and I need to end the show. So thank you so much to everybody who's been here for this weekend. I hope everybody had a great time. If you're at an event this weekend, please do have the very best of luck. Come say hi. If you're in Scotland and you randomly want to come to a team tournament, I think there's a couple spots available for one of the teams that are looking for a couple players. Drop me a message and I'll see if I can put you in touch. Catch you later. Nathan?
Bye-bye.